Again, we kind of have a little bit more general of a recap that kind of has to get up into this as we're kind of coming off from that, like holiday Christmas time hiatus. Looking back, um, holy shit, I can't believe I like can't even think of his name right now. Um,
Zeps.
Adam. Yeah, I mean Zaps, but I feel like Adam dropped for health reasons on the 4th of January. So it has been actually 2 months that this group has been on hiatus while we waited for Jessica to be available. And then we now have found Dave as well. So we'll kind of have a group again and can kind of continue forward here. In general, we have the main draw into 10 towns in Icewind Dale was initially these settlements of 10 generally human settlements that make up the 10 towns, all surrounding the main kind of capital of sorts of Bryn Shindar. Bryn Shindar is kind of the trade center that sits atop a large hill in this valley that sits beneath the actual glacier of the Red Glacier. And it is between the spine of the world and the sea of moving ice. Um, this is the very north of Faerun, and it's one of those weird things where even though everything is a little bit more properly like north on this map, it is one of those things where like it's still like the Arctic Circle can almost be drawn between the Red Glacier and the very kind of tip of the Sea of Moving Ice. So it's one of those things where having the actual north south, I can't think of what it's called, the actual like pendant on there, it's very much varying at any given point where magnetic north is, like as you kind of travel around this region. But you are more or less kind of wedged between the spine of the world and the Sea of Moving Ice. Bryn Shindar has a trade route running south of it out to Luskin, and most of the other 10 towns are all placed directly on these lakes that are all around. Maer Dualden is the largest, and it has four of the settlements on it. The next largest is Lake Dineshire with three settlements, and then the Red Waters is shared between Dugan's Hole and Goodmead. The adventurers here have kind of come for their own reasons. Most people in Icewind Dale are born here, criminals, thieves, or people just generally run out of the Sword Coast because they have no other option of any civilized place to live. They come to Icewind Dale. For the past 3 years, this place has been locked into a continual night. Every single day, with the what would be the rising of the sun, the goddess of night, Auril, flies across the sky, weaving her rhyme, and it creates the aurora of yellows, greens, blues, and purples that creates this dim light effect that shines these colors down on the world and prevents the sun from ever rising and prevents the ice from ever melting. Red Waters is nearly entirely frozen over. Lake Danenshire is vastly frozen over, and Mare Dualden is actually the only one that has any fleets of the old fishing boats still fishing them. Most of 10 Towns exists in this area, because knucklehead trout was a delicacy to the people of the Sword Coast, as well as a creation from their bones. The scrimshaw was kind of very sought after items. But in this kind of hellscape of frozen eternity, when you eat fish every day, you don't really want to eat fish. And that's all they have. They've got a little bit of kind of greenery, so on occasion there are other things that are kind of vegetable like or non fish like. but every bit of resource that they use from the trees of their little forests is kind of that last and final use before it will potentially never come again. As again, it's been 3 years since there's been any kind of daylight. They're not really growing any new trees. That's kind of the general gist of the happening here. You all had gone around and started helping some of these 10 towns, arriving and finding yourselves first in Caer Dineval. You all found a castle that was kind of shut off, holding their town speaker, seemed to be ill, and he had kind of like a group of mercenaries who were guarding and protecting him inside of the castle. Kind of moving away from these odd people who were kind of warning you about the rise of Durgar, as well as want to say they brought up that Asmodeus was kind of controlling the Durgar. It kind of became clear pretty quickly that these were cult followers, and as you guys kind of made your exit, I believe you all started to figure out that they were followers of Levistus, another arch devil from the Nine Hells. Moving northward, you went next to Caer Konig, where you found signs of the Durgar, as well as then moved to the north and actually eradicated a small outpost that they had newly created into these stones, or the stone mountains that were kind of coming off of the Red Glacier and more or less some of the foothills from the spine of the world. I believe as you progressed from there, you made your way toward Goodmead and Dugan's Hole, and you were able to assist them in some of their happenings. A couple of large beings that were giant like humans had murdered one of the speakers from Goodmead, as well as Dugan's Hole was kind of harassed by some large wolves that actually had the ability to speak. And you all would eventually go and battle a mammoth that had had its giant kin or giant master killed in the past and seemed to have been taking this all out on the people of Dugan's Hole. Um, believe you then went into East Haven, uh, found out that they had just burned a wizard alive shortly before you arrived, saying that he was guilty of kind of sending different people off on search for some things off in the wilds of Icewind Dale. And upon them finding what he was looking for, he seemed to have murdered most of them to hide any of the trail. Not making it out safely, he was burned at the stake, and you all would eventually find a little bit of a prize from them as you were sent off into Lake Dinnershire, where you all would destroy a woman who seemed to be cooking humans alive and kind of feasting on that. The same kind of lair that she had made was a old frost giant lair from ages past. There were many, many frost giant skeletons in that place. And I believe that's actually pretty close to some of the final things that you all have really done here as far as Icewind Dale goes. You helped most of those eastern towns. I feel like one of the final things that you did was heading into Bryn Shindar, and you were able to assist them in some lost ale that some of the dwarves from the Dwarven Valley had been ambushed by goblins. I believe you all rescued that for them, and that kind of rounds out that you all have pretty good favor in the eastern towns of Icewind Dale. Um, do either of you have anything to kind of add to that kind of initial recap of like how the 10 towns have gone?
We just haven't really touched on how harrowing and scarring Dugan's Hole was. I think that in itself requires an equal length description of.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good about any given 10 towns. Dugan's Hole is the smallest one, and it is very clearly inbred. But they all have their own quirks. That one might just be the most extreme. And Fate might have hooked up with a tiny little woman who was like 90 years old,
Did not
and he's a
happen. That's not
child.
canon. It's not canon.
Definitely canon.
Well, oh, shit.
It's not going to age well, but it's canon.
Neither is she.
You can inherit the town.
Don't want it. First thing I do if I inherit it is burn it to the ground and start again.
All right, all right. I did miss one. Well, you did actually help the people of Tourmaline. I do remember you all went up to one of the gem mines, and you were able to kind of negotiate some kobolds had come down from the spine of the world, and kind of negotiated them into working for the people of Tourmaline, as miners, as they basically were fleeing as refugees, and kind of needed a place that they ended up there. The people of Tourmaline, under their story, had essentially fled, and they never really did anything to them. So when they saw the people leaving the mine, they took it over. They kind of like um, continued the story. They had the same story about the mine was certainly creepy, and they made sure never to travel alone around through the mine. But in the long run, you all did a good job kind of negotiating the kobolds into that kind of like a social circle there. And I think that was as you all started to progress into what became the larger story of the things kind of happening beyond the actual walls of 10, or not really walls, because next to nothing is walled here. Beyond the actual like towns that make up Icewind Dale. And as you started to explore out, that is actually where you all went to the Black Cabin. In this kind of investigation, you all found a signs of a creator or inventor who had worked a device that both killed them as well as had kind of great potential to control the weather. In kind of fixing this item, you nearly, I think Zaps nearly got killed by it, but you all were able to manage to basically like create a summer like moment for about 8 hours before the power of this magical device more or less dissipated entirely. Um,
Yeah, we
and I
all as a
think that
team worked together to bring Zaps back. Everyone pulling their own weight.
And I think that was kind of the big point where you all found the first of these black stones that are ice like shards, feel like stones, and they work like metal. And it's been a very weird kind of item to come across, or weird
Well,
kind of thing. But
I was going to say, sorry, didn't we like almost episode one effectively discover them when we came across the is it Care Koenig when we had the black knights or the black swords or something like that? They were
Yep.
wearing them as pedants.
they wore it, but I didn't really think you guys necessarily knew what it was or got to touch it really at that point.
I think we made the link pretty much immediately because we'd also seen the I need to get my notes up, but what was the name of the person that was the fanboy who died right in front of us and turned into ice because they'd had the pendant as well, and I think it was something we made the link of pretty much immediately. Or Care Denivol, and it was uh
Let's see
Hefel.
here, like Helga, yeah, Hathel.
Sorry, Kranich was the townspeople who was ill, who died, and Hefel was the fanboy who had the dark sword-shaped amulet around her neck, made of black metallic nature from the dragon potentially, died and turned to a block of ice. I started. Go on, you go.
So that was the first time that you all got to manipulate the actual Chardolin.
True,
You guys would have seen it before, but you guys never touched it. You never got to work it. It's
true.
good that you connected the dots, though, that they were people who were using Chardolin. Um, do, 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 do.
Sorry, yeah, that's reminded me that that was the last thing I think we were coming to, like the conclusion. Well, I'll say the last thing that I think was the last when we had Zaps, the last group thing we came to the sort of like surprise moment of was that Chardolin was the name of the dragon that someone was trying to bring back, and so we got the impression that these black stone or black metallic stone shards was something to do with like the cult of the dragon or something. Because the dragon was called Chardolin as well, I think.
So from there, I believe you all did a run with Helka, a captain, to bring back whale oil from the Sea of Moving Ice from some of her connections. And you all kind of made this kind of deal with her to guard her. She had some sled dogs and her own little connections, kind of with a little reminder not to really talk about what you were going to pick up. You all could kind of manage this little occasion. And in the process of heading out into the Sea of Moving Ice, you all would basically call on a whale that was intelligent and conscious. And basically, it had like a ship on its back with a air bubble that kind of forms around the ship. It was a safe way for you all to travel through the Sea of Moving Ice beneath the actual waves, and you would eventually kind of come up on this area where uh, whale traders, whale hunters, were making a deal with Helka. You all would buy a bunch of whale oil and bring it back to Bryn Shindar to make a pretty hefty profit there. And I think that is actually among the last things that we have done. Um, So, on some level, we are picking up with this idea. I believe you all have recently been called from Devesa Shane, the speaker of Bryn Shindar, to a meeting in the town hall. You have collected many of the actual kind of rumors of some of the things that are going on around you, and you all have a pretty solid sense of some of these kind of happenings that are starting to like move and shake around 10 towns, as you kind of like branch outward into Icewind Dale, the actual areas that surround these isolated towns. In general, I really like to just smash everybody together and get you all role playing as a group here. So I would say we'll pick up with you all in the town hall, preparing to meet with Devessa Shane, and we will more or less start with all three of you in the same kind of waiting room. So we have you immediately together as an actual group. Before we kind of get there, because there's a whole lot of recapping already gone there, and then of course also it's all fresh for Dave. I want to kind of see if anyone has any other questions And then I'm also going to share the party notes so you all see again. These are all available in that same journal. Under your handouts, you've got that map I shared and then the party notes. But I want to share this just to make sure that you all have a second to kind of look over it. Um, the kind of favor and renown sheet, I actually feel like I should have a renown neutral and villainized for you all to recognize that, like, some towns you all have a lot of favor in, the ones you helped. Some towns you are just kind of because you tried to help them, but you didn't actually solve their problem. And then other ones look at you pretty poorly because you helped other people but ignored them. But other than that, that party notes is a good place to kind of see some of the things that you all have done through this campaign.
I was just going to say the last little thing though was the massive Kansas law dump at the end of like the last session. So Kansas, do you want to recap that, or do you want me to recap your law for you?
I don't remember it.
All right. So Kansas was a druid 1,000 leagues to the south, where she lived with a circle of druids. She went to live with them after she discovered she had druidic powers. Then a plague killed everyone in her circle after they protested to stop some humans. Well, they were trying to stop them from owning sheep, which she believed should be free. And then, in revenge, the humans went to a magic man who put a plague on the druids. And whilst they were all dying of plague, they went to kill all the humans and the magic person, who Kansas is sure is dead. But we didn't find out how Kansas survived the plague, or if the magic man is definitely dead. And that was the Kansas law. And also all the last things as well is that apparently I don't remember this, but I had the Slardy egg removed from me by a cleric of the Morning Lord.
Yeah, I had that on my list as like it was your priority to start with. I didn't know that you've actually done it. On some level, he's supposed to try to charge you for that, but I do think on some level you should have at some point asked Justin as well. So I don't really care if you just call that as solved.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, my notes just said Fate now worships them as a result of them removing their Slardy egg. So I have no memory of it. I just assumed that meant it had happened.
So with all that information dumped there, Dave, do you have any questions?
No problem. I'm doing nothing but writing notes right now. I'm sure I probably missed something or screwed or mixed something up. Sorry, Fate. What did the Morning Lord uh, priest remove from you? I didn't catch it.
It was a Slardy egg. So when my character was generated as part of like the book thing, is the random modifier that was applied to my character was that he had a Slardy egg inside of him. A Slardy being like a shape shifting evil thing,
I'm
effectively.
familiar
So
with the monster.
oh, fair enough then. Yeah. So that was just the character generation modifier that I had was yeah, there was a Slardy egg. So the last thing I think that happened was I got it removed. So.
I think from before, if the egg isn't removed, then eventually it hatches and bursts you open.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Yeah.
So we are quite a ways into the campaign. If you look at the little calendar I've got up there, the 30th of Alterac is when we started this, and we are on Tarsak 8th. I believe it becomes a chance that it starts to hatch after 30 days. So Josh has been sitting on this, like not actually telling anybody for the whole campaign so far, and he brought it up in passing, like it's one of the last things that we were doing pretty recently here. Um, but it's kind of funny because there are definitely occasions in the book where it's basically says, as like a little footnote, if the person still has their slotty egg, it bursts out in this scene and they die.
Yeah, it could be rough.
Yeah, also, as a side note, in general, I have the worst luck, so it was pretty much expected that I would have something like a Slardy egg inside me as my character modifier.
At one point, Justin, the cleric who kind of left a while ago, at one point he like went to cast Lesser Restoration on you, and I had to like be very clear to figure out like, wait, did you just cast that spell? And he's like, oh no, I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh shit, okay.
It's because he knew that the egg was in there, so I think he was just dicking around. It was like an hour after we had the break time chat where I mentioned I had it.
Gotcha. I felt like there was something in game though that was a viable reason why he might have been doing it. Faint's Lactin has had no lack of shadiness that would easily cause some suspicion.
It's probably true, especially since I got snogged by that old woman with the sharpened teeth. Probably got a million infections now.
That might have been what it was. So yeah, then if we kind of continue with this call to Bryn Shindar, where you all will be invited to the town hall to meet with Devesh's Shane. We will pick up with you all inside of the town hall, inside of kind of like a. All right, let me actually start a little bit broader here. Everybody who ever goes outside pretty much looks exactly the same. There's really only way to survive here, and it is by wearing like deer hide cold weather clothing here. So you have kind of the fur turned in. You are wearing like big leather overcoats that effectively add probably like 6 to 8 inches in insulation. Um, if not on each side of you, certainly as kind of like a diameter type of thing here. Everybody kind of looks like a puffball heading outside. Most people cannot or choose to not go outside unless it is life or death. Part of the reasoning here is this place's average temperature is pretty much negative 40 degrees. That is where Kelvin, or not Kelvin, Celsius and Fahrenheit converge, and they no longer have a difference between them. It is frigidly cold, and it is certainly near the temperature where bodily fluid will freeze before it hits the ground. Um, the wind here tends to be about 10 to 15 miles an hour, 10 to 20 miles an hour on a good day, and it is pretty regular for it to be blizzard conditions. Being outside, trying to see things outside is extremely difficult in the best of conditions. Being inside is the ideal, pretty much moment to moment. As far as going through a town like Bryn Shindar goes, this is one of the few towns that has some older buildings that kind of belie the fact that there were once occasions of summer in this place. They all have shutters on their windows. Many of them would actually be nearly covered up with snow, almost to the roofs. So they almost have like a little bit of a curvature to them from kind of snow drifts. And then you almost just have like these dug in entries to the different buildings from there. But it seems pretty clear pretty easily like where something has an entrance because that's where the snow is cleared away from the building. As far as the actual town hall goes, this is like a pretty large cathedral almost building with very big entrances. It's one of the few places that will be actively heated inside of Bryn Shindar, where heat is certainly in this whole area something that is kind of sparsely used. It's pretty clear that the town hall is actually magically heated, as there's not necessarily like fires everywhere. It just feels a little bit more naturally. It's probably like still 60 degrees or so. I don't think you need to have it super hot. But this is a marble hall. The central area has kind of like a welcoming desk where you have guards who I don't think I have the Brinshendar um, image for their like guards still in there, but I will drop it into Discord. But this room is basically filled with probably about like 6 or so guards who are actually standing outside, and a few more soldiers who seem to actually be working the desk. It's not necessarily clear what the difference really is, but effectively it gives you that feeling that people who are government workers are probably also guards. But I just dropped in Discord the actual Bryn Shindar image. Their crest. There we go. That's a good word for it.
Wheaty Antler Boys.
If you eat wheat, you will grow antlers.
If I had the actual town prepared, I could kind of explain some of that to you. If I recall just offhand, part of that is the reference to the fact that this is the one landlocked town of all of 10 towns. And it is the trade center of the 10 towns. So it is effectively the source of wheat that are coming from the Sword Coast, that is coming from the Sword Coast for all of 10 towns.
So what do we get, like fish on bread here?
That's a sandwich.
It's more or less kind of like some of the other places where the actual existence of any sort of cereal grain is next to gone at this point in 10 towns. This is years into essentially far worse than just like a blight or a drought. They really are people who are surviving on fat and protein, with like evergreen needles being about the only other source of kind of the macro or micronutrients. I feel like the little bit of carbs that anybody would get that's enough for your brain to function is going to be stuff that is coming from kind of evergreens. And I think you'd have one of those things where a lot of people, part of the fear, the anxiety, and the dread that sinks into everybody, I think is both physiological in that they are malnourished, as well as the fact that our bodies crave daylight and they do not get it. I think that is part of why this is a horror campaign, is because there are many things that psychologically all of these people are going crazy. But as you all have kind of like entered this area, you would basically be kind of sat off next to this little like welcoming desk in this large marble hall, and you all vaguely know that you are waiting for Devessa Shane, and more or less the three of you are just kind of there, just being kind of like, she'll be with you shortly. Ask a little bit later, she'll be with you shortly. So you're just kind of waiting to see when this town speaker is actually going to come out and actually invite you in for the reason that she called you to this meeting.
So is Dave with us now? Is he at this point?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys should have basically, it's Kansas, Faint, I would say Nidna, as well as Kelric waiting in this area. For what it's worth, though, I will have to introduce Jessica next week when we actually have her. That's why I say it's kind of unfortunate.
Okay, got it, understood. So I don't know, Dave, you want to describe your character, mate, or something?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't sure we were just hand waving and saying I was already in the group or we were meeting here.
I honestly am almost always of the preference to kind of hand wave that you have been a part of the group, um, because of a lot of reasons. I think it's far more interesting to have you all role play instead of role playing meeting someone, role playing the actual interesting stuff that's happening. But it is perfectly up to you all, regardless of how you want to do it. But definitely describing like the actual look is a perfectly acceptable place to start. That was part of why I was trying to say this place is warm, and you guys wouldn't want to have all of your cold weather gear on, because this would also be one of those first times that you can take off layers and you would expose like actual look.
All right, so we'll just go over quick background stuff. My name is Kelric Searon. I am a moon elf from the island of Evermeet. I left decades ago. Um, After my family fell on hard times, I was sent to the mainland to look for a stolen moonblade. After decades of searching, I pretty much just gave up on it, and I went from town to town, just looking for a way to make home. I heard of the place Ten Towns where like rogues and thieves and hermits could go to get away from the world. So I decided to end up coming up here. So as I am a wizard, but I went with blade singing, so I'm more covered in leather. Like I have daggers and a light crossbow that I tend to carry around with me. Besides, like pack of supplies and everything. Um, as a short introduction, that would pretty much be it.
All right, Gareth, so you said wood elf, did you? Sorry.
Oh, it's high elf. Sorry.
Oh, high elf. Yeah.
Would you describe Faint for us?
I think in this instance, yeah, he'd be hooded, which is the main thing. So you just see sort of a relatively tall humanoid-looking person with a long cloak, a hooded cloak on, which is a big hood that completely covers his face. Lots of bulges and things underneath the cloak, which you can imagine are probably most likely to be weaponry and things that are underneath there. But clearly male in his form anyway, and that's probably about it that you would see.
And then would you describe Kansas for us?
Kansas is a gnome and a druid, and carries a bow around, and likes to make good berries as far as food instead of fish because it's bad to eat creatures.
That makes sense.
And just because we're effectively saying, we're hand waving and saying you've been part of the group all along, as that Faint's a rogue, and he's a wood elf, and he's um, acting like he's older than he is. He's actually very young for a wood elf. He's like 20, I think it was, or something. So,
Just a baby.
oh, you little baby.
Faint does some really cool stuff with like psychic blades. You just kind of cast these. I don't know what would you call them, like psychic blades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the new soul knife rogue from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
Yeah, I read up on that one. That one seemed pretty cool. I haven't got a chance to play that one yet.
So while you all sit here and wait, are you all very patiently waiting? Are you all doing anything while you are kind of being almost brushed off and time is going by?
I guess I'd be polite at first, and I'd be waiting, and then probably I'll fire up a psychic whispers to my two companions so that we can talk privately. So let me just mark off a psychic whispers.
Isn't the first one free? Don't you just roll the
It is,
d8
but I
to
have
see
to
how long
mark
it
off the
goes
free
for?
one.
Oh, gotcha,
So
gotcha. It doesn't take a die, but it's still got.
exactly, yeah. So I like to mark it off just to make sure I don't forget that I don't like to, You know, get more
Gotcha.
resources than I'm allowed.
So you've
So it gives me
got
3
3
hours.
hours of conversation right now.
Yeah, so I just say psychically to the other two, it's quite a long wait. This, do you think this is there something going on, or do you reckon this is nothing to worry about?
They probably make everybody like wait this long, I would assume.
Unless they got something that they want right away, I guess. Like, food or money or urgent news. Maybe we should tell them we got urgent news.
What do we have urgent news about, though?
I don't know, they summoned us, didn't they?
I guess their news can't be that urgent. They're making us wait this long.
I don't know. Maybe we'll hear a little bit longer. Is there someone we should ask, maybe? I mean, Kansas, you don't look really intimidating. Maybe you could go over and be nice and be like, yeah, oh, I'm small. Can we go in?
All right, I'll try that.
Also, by the way, faint is stupid.
All right, nice.
Intelligence 7.
Charisma 7, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work with me trying to charm anyone.
3 of you took charisma 7, so
Yeah, the conversation's
Great.
gonna be great.
Oh, I'm charisma 11.
Josh is like set up to be the face of the party, and he's the stupid one.
And I love to lean into the character aspect of that and make stupid decisions.
Oh, it's joyous to see those stats. So as you approach the guard, what is Kansas going to say to the guards?
Excuse me, we've been waiting a little bit, and we're wondering when we can get in, and if we should be doing anything else, or if you've forgotten about us completely.
Just gonna see as this guard kind of like stands up a little bit to look over the marble counter and kind of looks down towards Kansas. Mighty sorry for your wait. There is business that Duvessa is attending to. I understand that she will be finished shortly, in just a few more minutes, and she will be with you then. As he says this is the exact same thing they told you all hours ago.
Okay, what about we wait another 2 minutes, and after that, and then I run out of ideas.
I say cycling to Kansas. Tell them we'll wait another 15 minutes and then we'll leave or something. I don't know.
And I'll say back to Faint. Well, they don't seem like they care. It's not a really good threat.
Well, they summoned us, so they obviously want us.
Do you remember who summoned us exactly?
We're a town speaker.
So I'll say to the guard, the town speaker summoned us, but we're going to have to do something else with our very important time if we're not seen quite soon.
Roll a persuasion.
Well, I heard it roll, but I don't see anything.
Nothing's come up for me.
Did it roll in D&D Beyond? Do you see the number there at least?
I don't know. I clicked over to the other screen. Let me see here. Let's try again.
Try clicking the red B at the bottom on Roll20, and then going back over to D&D Beyond to roll the die. That like resyncs the VTT sometimes.
Okay, now nothing's happening.
Bam! And now both of them came through. So he's just going to kind of like look back at one of the other guards who's just kind of behind this desk and I, Duvessa has asked you to come here, and our orders are to keep you present until she is available to see you. If she is not here, it is pressing matters that keeps her from you. Oh, can you not wait just another few minutes?
So she's not even in the building?
She is here. She is in the town hall. Her quarters are here.
Where are those quarters?
I cannot share the location of where she sleeps, but she lives in the hall.
Oh, it's fine. Like, I won't tell anybody. It's just between us.
What about we go get lunch and then we come back if we feel like it?
If you must leave, we are ordered to stop you. We
Oh, wait, my good man. That
are
is
not.
not correct. That is not a nice thing to do.
I mean, is this guy okay? He seems somewhat, I don't want to say, or orgasmic, but he seems to be feeling something intensely about this situation. Are you okay, my friend? Is everything all right with you?
We understand who you are and what you have done. I assure you, none of us want to keep you here. But Duvessa has asked you here, and we need you to wait. If you leave, it does not mean she will not have to take up more pressing business. It's not meant to be an affront.
Just checking. Oh no, this isn't one of the places where we are villains. So we must have done something good
No,
here. I just
you
can't remember.
guys helped the dwarves who got ambushed. You have your extra favor with the Black Iron Blades. The people of Bryn Shindar know your exploits and look at you favorably.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry, I was just confused because it sounded to me a bit like he was like afeared of us or something.
No, they're definitely afraid of you. They're telling you that they have orders to keep you here, but they're also telling you with how they're acting that they are afraid of if they are supposed to actually do that, of what's going to happen.
Oh, I see. So I got it. I got it. So they're
Like
afraid of
when
their
Kansas
competency.
says that's not a good idea, like they know,
Got it. Got it. My mistake. Apologies.
but it doesn't change that the town speaker told them not to let you leave.
Understood. All right. Tell you what, mate. I don't want you to get in trouble. You seem like you're a good guy. We'll wait. And I look at the other two and I go, one more hour, yeah? And in the meantime, why don't you have yourself a piece of this? I think I'd turned my owlbear meat into jerky in some form, hadn't I? That seemed to be something I was handing out to people readily. So let's just say off from a piece of owlbear meat, jerky. Yeah, have this on me in the meantime. I'll have one myself, and don't worry, we'll be all good.
So on some level, this is like the only campaign that actually comes with refrigeration. So if you do have it as jerky, you should definitely list it as like an owlbear ration, just under like a custom item kind of thing. If it is fresh owlbear, like if it's ever fresh meat, you guys should also keep track of that as well, because this is one of the few times like that you can actually effectively keep something frozen by just having it.
Got it. So it says up here I've got 40 pounds of owlbear meat. So what I'll do, I'll just split it, and I'll say 20 pounds of frozen owlbear meat, 20 pounds of owlbear meat jerky.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, you had some of it at least was raw. You may have actually paid the barkeep in Lonelywood to turn that into rations because I remember you gave them, I think you gave her like 15 pounds or something because you all had some fat steaks before you went out to the Black Cabin.
Yeah, there was another type of meat as well. I can't remember what it was, and that's why I remember when we killed the owlbears, I was very quick to carve it up and take meat because I realized how like
Yeah.
good of a
The
commodity it
owlbear
was.
was on the way up between Targos and Tourmaline on your way to Lonelywood. So it
Got
was
it. Yeah.
probably raw up to Lonelywood. I mean, you can still put it down again. You can keep some of it is frozen and some of it is jerkied. But I feel like at least part of what that bargain was that day was having that barkeep effectively smoke it for you.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll just split it. I'll just say 20/20 out of the 40 because I'm pretty sure it was way more than 40 pounds originally, and I've been reducing it manually when I edit the inventory item because I want to keep it accurate. So I think I have been reducing it. So the other two guys, I think at the time took maybe 70. Seems familiar, but I can't really remember. It's been so long.
So how long do you all think you've waited before you sent Kansas up to the counter?
I get the impression like 2 hours or something by that point, right?
Gotcha. And you're willing to do another hour?
We'll review. Yeah, let's wait another hour and then let's review it. So by the end of the next hour, I guess my psychic will be down to 2 hours left of communication.
So this guard, you said something about a marble counter. Is there any paper on it?
I'm sure there's some sorts of paper on there. Give me 1 second though. What was Kelrek thinking?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna wait the other hour and then we'll just, uh, get the guard to try and get a hold of them, or we'd end up going.
Gotcha. So what are you going to do with like the things that they have on the counter?
Well, I just noticed on my character sheet that I have this cantrip for producing a flame, which I don't tend to use. But I've now discovered that I have a latent pyromaniac streak. And I'd like to burn something if I'm not getting any attention.
I mean, what's not getting any attention? You're plenty attentive of you. They're also just not like there's no Devessa Shane.
Yeah, so I guess starting fires probably doesn't get us into the room any quicker.
I would immediately advise against suddenly starting a fire inside this building in this waiting area.
All right.
So I'd say probably, unless, sorry, have you got something you were going to do, Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to go over to threaten the guards to, I mean, not like physical damage or nothing, but just somehow threaten them to, like, somebody needs to go and talk to your boss, or we're going.
Ooh, we are not able to interrupt the conversation that she would be in at present. If you must leave, I am to order you to stay. And you see as he kind of like just is like dropping his head down like a little bit, like his body just gets a little bit smaller, and you can see this guy's like almost turtling up as he orders you to stay.
Don't worry, mate. We're friends of this town. You got nothing to worry about. We're not gonna hurt each other. We're here as friends of the town. So, just the only thing is, though, is that if it comes to it, and there's not really any point of us waiting around any longer, we'll just be in a tavern nearby or something. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're not going to leave the town. It's just that, for me, could you please maybe just go and check on the situation? And I promise we'll stay here. We won't move until you come back. Just go and ask and find out how much longer it's going to be or something. Maybe, please.
If I brought you refreshments, would you be ready to wait for Duvessa to come?
I
I wouldn't
mean,
say
it
no to
would
that.
help. Or what would you say?
I said I wouldn't say no to that. That's fine. That's at least something besides just ignoring us.
Yeah, exactly. That would help. That would be nice. Thank you, mate. And whilst you're getting refreshments, if you could, put an ear to a door, stick your head round the corner, and find out what's going on, because you haven't seen the town speaker in as many hours as we've been waiting here for. So you must be curious what's going on as well, right?
Let me get a persuasion from Faint as well as Carrick.
Okay. 12 and a 14 between the two of us. That's not bad.
She is in a meeting with one of the speakers. They are talking about business that pertains to why she has invited you here. If you will wait, she will be with you shortly. He's gonna kind of cower again in just a few minutes. But I will bring you mead for 3 and trout for 3. Do you like
Uh,
soup?
Trout for
Raw?
2.
2.
I'll
Yeah,
take
no,
the meat. Yep, that's fine.
no fish for me, please.
None for me either. Just the mead would be nice. So a little bit of a drink would be good.
I'd be all right with trout. The meat too. Don't skip that.
Would you like grilled, fried, a cold sandwich, a soup?
Soup would be delightful.
I should not have offered the sandwich, but I was definitely thinking about Thanksgiving, like after turkey.
Makes sense. We brought up the wheat before.
This guy's going to kind of like snap to one of the other guards, who's just kind of like against one of these doors, off in kind of like a southwestern corner. You'll see as he kind of like very quickly kind of hops into the room behind him, and about 5 minutes later is going to come out with a tankard. Probably like 6 or so glasses of mead inside of it, 3 glasses for you all, as well as the bit of trout for um shit, Kelrick, and kind of like hand it off to you all, set down the tankard, and return back to their post. How long does that buy before you all go back up to the desk as you wait longer?
I'd probably say, as we're eating the meal psychically, well, to be honest with you, some big things have happened recently. I'd probably be inclined to say we can maybe wait a little bit longer, see how it goes. Might be something big. It's just, fucking boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of strange that they would call us over here, but then just leave us waiting in the hallway. How long do you think? Are we supposed to wait all day? The next day? What's going on here?
I mean, if nothing else, like we don't want to like hurt the guards anyway because they're ordered to stop us. But we can at least make some kind of commotion, or they might hear us from the room.
I mean, I could kill him painlessly if that's what you want.
No, that was not what I wanted. I could try and just magically make a really loud sound, is what I meant, not slay anybody.
Did you say you've got a pocket full of sand?
Close. That could actually work. No, I could just magically make a really loud sound, and we could just make a ruckus, and maybe they'll come down here and check.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, let's keep that in the pocket. I think that's a good idea. We should consider that. But I'm genuinely thinking we could just wait for a bit longer. It's boring. It's so boring. But something big sounds like it's happening, and I kind of want to find out what.
Oh yeah, by all means. I wasn't planning on leaving. I just wanted to hurry it up.
So how much longer do you guys think you've got before you put a guard out of his misery and just kill people?
5 minutes.
What are you doing when 5 minutes is up? Because they're making you wait.
If nobody else does anything, I just wanted to use minor illusion to make like the sound of a huge explosion, and to see if somebody else besides these two comes out.
So with the explosion inside of the town hall, you all are going to see as the guards around all basically like draw to with their pole arms, kind of like as they are looking around trying to figure out where and what is happening here. And you're going to see as 7 more guards will come out from the door that the guard grabbed the ale and the fish from earlier.
I'm gonna shout. Oh, what was that? Stay behind me, guards. Keep you safe. Oh, does anybody hear where that came from?
Yeah, something just happened somewhere in the building. We can help you guys look around to see where it came from.
This is a good idea. Maybe we should split up, take a couple of guards of each of us.
I could not make out the direction, but it was most certainly in this room somewhere. Somebody perhaps is invisible. Do you have the ability to see them?
I do not. Um, but again, like we're in this room. Obviously, nothing burst here. Everything seems to be fine. You sure it's just not like let us check the couple rooms uh, connected to this one?
You have been invited to see Devessa, and you are more than welcome to wait for Devessa to call on you. The danger is most certainly in this room. I heard it myself.
But to me, it sounded a bit like it came from just upstairs above me here, to be honest with you. And I'm
Make a
very,
deception check, both of you.
Yeah, I really think it came from upstairs.
nailed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're just going to be kind of looking over you, and he'll kind of like wave off some of the other guards as those 7 kind of return to. Why will you not just wait for Devessa? Let you play
Because we've
around
been
with
waiting and
It's
waiting.
boring. Can one of
life.
you please just tell us why we're here? Please, just give us a hint.
I already told you that she is meeting with one of the other speakers of 10 Towns. Their meeting is private, and she has called you to this location in order to discuss what they are currently discussing. If she is held up in that meeting, we apologize. But it does not change why she invited you here, the importance of it, and the fact that they do not share it with those such as myself.
I look at the other over my shoulder and I look back at him and I go, fine, all right, okay, but please. Just, do you want to play a card game or something in the meantime, guys? Because I mean, I'm just so fucking bored. And I offer him another piece of jerky, very small piece, because I don't want to give him another one.
How much longer are y'all waiting?
I say another hour.
Yeah, do we just ask for cots at that point, and then we'll just make it a night?
I really think that she would like to talk to us now.
And you are more than welcome to go on thinking that. She would like to speak with you now. I doubt that not. But she is currently busy and will attend to you in the next few minutes.
Can I just ask, if you haven't seen her in a while and she's been locked in a room with someone, how do you know your town speaker's safe?
Might be dead.
She could have been in trouble all this time, and you've not been checking up on her to know that she's okay.
It is not my job to check up on the town speaker moment by moment. At any point, Duvessa is attended by the captain of the guards. My duty is here at this desk and he'll kind of like look around to the 6 guards like in this hall, as their duty is to attend to the hall. And your duty is to wait for Duvessa to come, and she will be with you in a moment.
Well, you said that, and then there was another hour. And you said that, and there was another hour. And I can't even count as high as the number of hours ago that you started saying that. So, yeah, should we just set up a cot here or what?
I want you guys to know that, you know us, we're good people. There is honestly no ill will between us. The only thing that you need to worry about is us getting so bored we leave. And, if we're going to leave, if we get to that point, make the decision, we're going to walk out of here. That's what's going to happen, and it's not going to be a problem. But I don't want to put you in that position where you get in trouble that we left. So if there's anything you can do to help find out how long we're going to be waiting for, as a friend of the town to you, please can you do something to help us?
I can bring you ale, I can bring you food. I do not have an answer how long their meeting will go. You have been here for 4 some hours. It should only be another few minutes.
Oh, you said it'd be a few minutes when we first got here 4 hours ago. I'm losing my fucking mind.
How long are y'all waiting for? Y'all setting up beds?
Well, I feel like we have three choices. We either set up beds here, we force our way in, or we force our way out. I'm running out of ideas.
Yeah, same here. Should we stab
Well,
somebody?
well, I'll say to the guard, right, have you got a room here with beds in it we could just sleep in or wait in until she's ready for us?
If you require sleep, you can join our guards in barracks, and you are more than welcome to lay your heads down to rest.
About what time well, I say what time it is. About what hour is it as far as we're aware?
As far as things go, you would be probably like well into the midday between, say, like 2 and 4 o'clock at this point, kind of thing.
Oh, so it's too early for that.
Yeah, like if you guys showed up like in the morning time, like kind of got like a caller coming for you, like in the morning, say like 8 or 9, you basically came to the hall and you've been sitting here waiting since. But at least like half of your day has kind of been wasted just sitting and chilling. So if they take you in through that door, you will see that there's just like a small kind of like kitchen setup. When I say small, it's probably like a 15 by 20-foot room with seating for probably like 15 or 20 people around a large table, and then kind of a bunch of food and like a keg set up, and then it like looks into this long room that's connected to it, that will be just barracks. There's probably at any given point like 40 or so guards who are inside of this actual housing area. And it's almost like they're kind of on call. They're not resting, sleeping, but many of them are kind of reclined and laid down with armor on, which again, like it's uncomfortable to be anywhere in medium and heavy armor. They are most certainly not like sleeping here, but this is one of those things where they are basically ready to be called to action if something happens.
What guys are you doing?
Yeah, so I mean, at any given point, you have these people who will welcome you to enjoy food, enjoy ale, or basically you can grab a bed and lay down and relax.
I'll go and lie down on the bed a bit then, but I'm fully conscious, just like one leg crossed over the other, both hands behind the head, the elbows pointing out. And I wait a little bit and go, "Oh, you guys bored of waiting as well?"
Yeah, so any given guy that you talk to in here, their response is going to be something to the effect of, "Our job is to be here, waiting for any dangers that come. Waiting is what we live for."
But you
Yeah,
could come
sounds.
with us and you could be adventurers and find out what else there is to life outside of this very, very dull city, town, village.
Anyone with enough brains in their head knows and understands that the life of an adventurer is certain death. Most of you will die. For one of you to gain fame, you live a very dangerous life. You can be happy with that for yourself. I have 3 children. I do not have such things to throw away. So little care for life.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually the only one left alive out of the ones that I got off the boat with. So, yeah, good point. But I sit up and I go, "It does mean that those of us still left here today," and I gesture to the other two, "we are very good. We can take on an apprentice for sure."
Roll a persuasion.
11. I keep rolling 11s. Well, under 12.
Over the next 30 or 40 minutes or so, you're going to have like a series of the guards from this area who are going to kind of like pass by where you all are, and just kind of like in a moment, like some of them will kind of like walk by and almost like kneel down next to you. And each one in kind is just going to in some way offer or insinuate that for enough gold, they would join you. They would take you up on this offer to be trained. They would work for you as a soldier. Different options, but if you were looking for an apprentice, there's certainly mercenary like aspects to some of these soldiers. All of them, though, on some level, are trying to be as covert about sharing this. Um, because there is a certain danger in leaving their post.
Alright, got it, understood. I won't waste any more psychic whispers on covert conversations for now, but just so you all know what my plan was to get one person who was, enthusiastic, and then to try and use that as an opportunity to find out more about what's going on. But if that hasn't really taken with them without them being covertly interested in actually being paid to join us, then I think that's a lost cause. So I'm happy to close that down and somebody else have a go.
Everybody's otherwise enjoying yourselves as you relax here.
But that was. It's getting kind of boring now. I think I'm gonna go for a walk, and I just want to kind of like get up and start walking around. I guess I'll just go back into the main room and then back and forth. And then while I'm walking around, I'm gonna see if everybody's keeping eyes on me to see if there's a way I can like slip into another door.
There is a guard in front of any given door, so slipping into a door is not going to be something you can just do.
Gotcha.
When are you going for this walk?
Just right now. I guess I'll just go back and forth in between the two rooms and just kind of figure out even a way in or out without hurting any of these guards that seem to be pretty nice.
Just right now isn't really an answer though to what I'm looking for. Like if you guys haven't figured out, I rolled when she's going to see you, and you guys have to wait long enough for her to get there. So if you're in the 4th to 5th hour, how long before Kelrick gets bored and gets up and does this?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd say I forget how long we've been doing this. I guess into the 6th hour or so
All right. Well,
altogether.
if you're waiting that long, it's 5 hours is what I rolled. So while you all are in the barracks, you are going to have a guard come into the actual room, and they're going to kind of look around for a moment to see where each of you are. They will call you by name and then have you follow me.
Okay, we'll follow.
So this will be a different guard as he calls you all to. You're going to walk back out into that main entrance area. And then one of the doors that is kind of behind the actual like greeting desk where you all saw the other guards there. They're going to walk you into this door. You will walk into a pretty small room with like 4 more seats and pretty much nothing else. It is just a stark little like almost not 5 by 5, like 10 by 10 room with a couple of chairs into it. Inside, there's another door on the opposite side. They'll walk you through that door, and you are going to enter a little bit of an auditorium where you see like 7 seats kind of in a semicircle off to the right, kind of like south of you all. And there's probably about like 100 seats along kind of the left, and they're all kind of staggered upstairs. So you're kind of walking in about like a halfway point with, say, like 30 seats in this kind of like bottom lowest area where you're walking in at, and probably another like 60 or 70 up a little bit further from that, like a little bit north of you there. And they're going to kind of walk you through this room. Pretty austere. You'd be able to spot some papers on the actual desk with the 7 seats that are facing the rest. And when you get to the opposite side, you're going to turn away from a door that was kind of straight ahead and start to head down the stairs. And you will head behind that desk and go through another door. As they go into this door, you're going to see that there is another small room, probably about 15 by 10 feet. This room has a small table on one side, and it is laden with a bunch of food, as well as like a little thing of ale and a small circular table that probably fits about 5 people comfortably. But you can see that there are some chairs like stacked into the corner, and it would be 7 seats total. And then you walk through this room into another room on the opposite of that. And this, when you open the door, you are going to see a large wooden desk. That the desk alone is probably about 10 feet long, probably about 5 feet wide, and it stands human height, probably about like 3.5, 4 feet, like for a human rather. And you're going to see this desk is just piled with paperwork. The actual room opens up into a long view, almost 30 feet to the right of you there. And you're going to see along this room is a couch, a settee, a couple of small chairs. There's an actual fireplace that is burning along the kind of like far wall, a little bit to the right and forward of where you are facing. And as you kind of look in this room, this guard's going to kind of spin to you all and kind of like wave their arm towards like the sofa, the settee, or any of the chairs and invite you to, if you would like to relax and wait here, Professor Shane will be with you in just a few moments.
At least it's another room.
This is her private office. She will be with you in just a moment. Please make yourselves comfortable. If there is anything else you require, I can get it prepared for you. But otherwise, once she arrives, you all will be undisturbed from those around you.
Yeah, I require a town speaker, please.
And he's going to turn around and walk back through the door he entered through and shut it behind him.
That is an appropriate response to my sassiness.
We're not getting anywhere with charm.
Or magical noise. I think I've tried everything I can think of.
I think at this point we are just best to just wait. I feel like that's kind of we've reached the apex of the waiting procedure, and there's no point. We just wait. She'll be here in a minute, I'm sure.
Did they recruit you to their payroll?
No, I'm just dead inside.
So after about 2 minutes, there's going to be a door opposite the one you all just came in from is going to open up. You are going to see a tall older man with very dark skin, very regal dress and attire, with like a plate mail chest plate with the Bryn Shindar crest on it. He's got like blue fur, like shoulder kind of like drapings that like lead off to a like kind of partial cloak that drafts down his left side. Feels like the wrong word, but kind of like falls down like the left side in this little partial cloak, and he's going to greet you all. Welcome. How is everyone today?
Well, we've been stuck waiting for 5 hours. Now, can you tell us what's going on?
My name is Master Southwell. It is a pleasure to meet you, Mistress Kansas. We are sorry that we have had to have you wait. Duvessa has found the day extend far beyond what she expected. And he's going to bow pretty close to his waist. Probably still not like head high for you, but he'll bow to you in kind of a response.
Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you again.
And it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance as well, Master Faint. You do not need to hide anything from us here. We are well aware of your exploits and your heroics.
All right, I just slowly drop the hood, revealing my adolescent face. All right, fair enough. Well then, what's all this about then? And what's so important that we had to wait for, what was that, 6 hours, 5 hours? I don't even know anymore.
Duvessa was pulled into a conversation that would not end, but it was about important subjects that were necessary for her to continue to receive information from those who were here. Multiple speakers from within 10 towns have come to her to share pertinent information to those who would thwart the children of Aura, as well as others who make their move to destroy what 10 towns. And he kind of like shrugs his shoulders a little bit. Has?
No, I understand. I get what you're getting at. At the end of the day, we're a community of people. We're all trying to survive, and we all try and help each other out where we can to make it through this. So I get what your point is, but it's just strange. When was the last time the speakers have been together like this before?
Like this, it has been quite some time. The speakers who came today did so without wanting all of the speakers to come. Doubt as to the loyalty of others has become apparent, but this is not for me to share. If you will wait but a moment longer, Duvessa will be here shortly. And he's just going to kind of move towards one of the fireplace seats and more or less throw his cloak back a little bit, sit down, and kind of pull out a little pipe. Um, it's not like stopping any given conversation, but that's not his business to share.
Got it. Fair enough.
But another minute's going to go by before the door that he came through is going to open up. You are going to see as a small little girl walks through. She's probably approximately 4 feet tall, long black brownish hair. She wears kind of a very big, like white fluffy fur, like shoulder like draping, very kind of like regal dark blue, almost purple kind of dye to her, like it's not really a cloak so much as a robe. And this tiny little girl just like walks in. She's going to move up to the seat that looks across at the same fireplace as Markham, and she's just going to like crawl up onto it. And as she kind of like spins down to sit down on the seat, you are going to see as her feet are dangling in the air. This is very much a child. And as she sits down, just going to let out a huge sigh. I am very sorry that you all had to wait so long today. It was not my intention to be pulled into a meeting that would last nearly 5 hours. I am so sorry for your waiting. Is there anything that you require presently before we begin what might be an even longer conversation?
Wait, so is this a human child?
This is a human child. She is probably between like 9 and 12 years old.
All right, so definitely not a halfling.
Definitely not a halfling.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, we haven't been formally introduced. I'm Faint. I'm
She's
assuming
gonna
you're the
like
town speaker.
stand up onto the actual chair and reach out her hand to you. I'm sorry, I am exhausted. Duvessa Shane, I am the Speaker of the Council, Speaker of Bryn Shindar. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Faint. And then she'll look over and she'll raise a hand out for Kansas. And then she'll look over and she'll raise a hand out for Kelrick. It is a pleasure to meet you all.
Oh, well, it is good to meet you. What exact news did you bring us here for?
And sorry to hear you've had a tough day.
Many things are starting to develop that I'm at a loss for what the proper choices must be that we go forward with. A few of those on the council have come to me for worries of the children of Arl and the power that they have gained in their own towns. I understand their plight and recognize the danger that my own town itself is in even now. The children of Arl are a danger to all of us who wish to make a life in Ten Towns. But that is only a part of why I initially invited you here. I understand the danger that the children of Arl present, but there is a greater rumor that I worry that Hosttowers and the Arcane Brotherhood. And she'll kind of like look around to see if anybody recognizes this. Let me get a like Arcana with advantage from Kelric. And then Fate probably came through Luskin. Roll a history check, Fate.
12 again, man. 11 and 12 is amazing night. We got a nat 20 on the Arcana from Kelric.
Gotcha. Excellent. Yeah, so the Arcane Brotherhood is centered in Luskin. They are a group of wizards along the Sword Coast that, while they're not necessarily evil, they're certainly also not necessarily good. They run their school out of Hosttowers, and this is certainly a group to be weary of. A lot of things have happened in the past, and the Lord's Alliance, which is kind of the cities of the Sword Coast, is always hesitant to do things that might go over poorly with Hosttowers, with the Arcane Brotherhood. Um, so as she's kind of bringing this up, this is a wizarding group that you would most certainly know and understand, if not also be interested in joining on some level. Part of what they do is giving access to incredible amounts of lore, as well as like old magics. But as she kind of continues on, the the people who have come most recently have told tales of a wizard who was put to death in East Haven, and it has become apparent that among his threats were the warning that many of his people had come from the Arcane Brotherhood. And while I am worried of the masses' appeal towards Oral, I cannot help but to wonder if this is another attempt of the Arcane Brotherhood to take over or destroy 10 towns. Are you may be familiar with the recent struggles of Icewind Dale? Have all of you come recently? Have you been here for many years?
No, I don't want to speak for us all, but we're all pretty recent as far as I know. About a week in total, about a month in total, I think.
She's gonna kind of like drop her head a little bit. 4 years ago, prior to me being elected, there was a particular prisoner who, while he was free, made a push to bring business to 10 towns and to take them over. It seemed that it was his goal to drive out many of the speakers. Perhaps with commerce, and perhaps by the sword. And it was only these 4 years ago that he was imprisoned in Revel's End, and it became apparent afterwards that he was a wizard with the Brotherhood. I wanted to ask you to attend to Revel's End, to see to Prisoner 237, and to find out what you can about the peoples of the Arcane Brotherhood and what they are doing here. My other speaker friends have come here to warn me about the actions of the children, but they also come confirming that there is news of the Arcane Brotherhood. Even if it is just rumors, we need more information. And I was hoping that I could send you away to Revel's End with my best wishes and entrance into the prison that you might question prisoner 237.
Are we supposed to rescue this prisoner or just leave the prisoner there?
He is a vile piece of trash. You are not to assist him in any way, and he is most certainly dangerous when he is taken out of his cell.
So you just want us to question him?
Of any news that you might acquire about the Arcane Brotherhood's actions here.
Hang on, I gotta leave for a second.
Gotcha. Let's take a quick break here because I need to go to the restroom. Let's come back like 5 minutes after the hour. And if everybody is back before then, we will start back up before then. Otherwise, let's take 15.
Sure, sounds good. Catch you in a minute.
Okay, see you guys in a bit.
Can you hear me eating ramen? Is that why you did that?
No, that was just a coincidence, actually.
All right, I'm over here like chopsticking ramen into my face as fast as I can. I was like, wait, is it the wrong mic picking up?
No, take your time, mate. Don't rush it. Enjoy it. Some chili heatwave Doritos, but you guys probably call them something weird in America, like cool sports hype or something.
No, man, they're cool because they're ironically hot.
I feel like a lot of the flavors of things in America are either like so mundanely descriptive of what its components are, or they describe a concept more than they do a flavor.
All right, I'm back. What are you talking about?
Flavors.
I definitely think a lot of things are marketed under the idea of like describing like a mental state.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah, it's rather than it just being like, oh, this is chili sweet crisps. It's like this is Penang smash chips.
I feel like they do that with a lot of energy drinks that come out recently.
Energy drinks, yeah, they don't even describe them as a flavor. They describe them as a concept because they probably legally aren't allowed to call it like, strawberry flavored, because there's probably so many chemicals in it that create the highest percentage of inputs that they aren't legally aren't allowed to say it's strawberry drink.
Yeah, I think it just sounds more exciting, and then nobody wants to drink anything like pineapple flavor, so they just call it like gold.
Yeah, I mean, I used to drink a lot of energy drinks, so I've tried a lot of flavors and experienced a lot of nonsense branding and flavoring, and yeah, it really is just the most like out there flavoring of all things. Although, Monster Mango Loco is what I believe is the closest anyone will ever get to God.
That one is pretty good. I won't argue that.
Oh, it's so good. It's like 11 different fruits, even though it's called Mango Loco. Oh, it's just absolutely top tier.
Now I want to try it. I don't know when the last time I drank a Monster was.
I think
Yeah,
I can say never.
you're missing out if you've never tried Mango Loco before. I know it's an energy drink, so you obviously, have a lot of caffeine, but it's genuinely the most delicious, tastiest drink in general, full stop, regardless of energy drink or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I drink Full Throttles pretty regularly because it's like the cheapest multi pack. But like when I sold furniture, we sold like 32-ounce monsters, and I could definitely go through like two of those in any given shift. And it was one of those things where it was like, I'm gonna kill myself selling furniture doing this. Um, and I shouldn't laugh. I can't believe I just laughed there. About 6 months after I left that job, my boss, who would do the same thing, ended up actually dying from kidney failure. And it was no doubt because of those like 64-ounce days where we would just be chugging these energy drinks.
Yeah, that's insane, man. But it's true. It happens all the time. It's scary, but yeah, it's So just on that, I said I used to be a big energy drinker, but I'm not anymore. I know you're saying you drinking something instead, but as I've changed to, how you have all like those gamer drinks that are like G Fuel and things and stuff. The one I have is called Sneak, which is like a UK British brand version of it, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same stuff. But it's cheaper than a can of energy drink would be, and it's way better. It's genuinely life changing for me as somebody who depends on caffeine to get through the day. So it, I have like no crash off it at all or anything. It's cheaper than an energy drink, and it's not carbonated, so it's not fizzy. So it's just like a straight drink. In effect, it's just check them out. They're really good.
In-game energy.
Well, yeah,
Monster.
it's like gamer drink. They always market it as such because it's like protein shakes where you scoop the powder and then you have water and stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, they always market it as gamer stuff because it's like, how can we target active based drinks to people that aren't active? Well, gamers.
Well, like Bang energy drink, like their cotton candy is one of my favorite flavors. I rarely ever buy it, but it's definitely one of those things. If I buy an energy drink out in the world, instead of like having one that I've bought and is in my refrigerator, like I like those Bang cotton candies. But looking at some of the like color schemes of these, I'm like, yeah, that probably tastes really good because it's like pink, green, yellow, and orange. I'm like, that sounds like a good flavor, and I'm looking at colors.
Yeah, I love blue flavor. It's my favorite.
So wait, go on. Your boss died, and you think the kidney failure is due to energy drinks?
Not necessarily like due to like a energy drink, but that we used to do that on a regular basis. Basically, where we sold furniture, often we would get like a truck in, and it would be one or the other of us who had to unload the truck. And part of what ended up happening over time was that once we got these 32-ounce energy drinks, we were having them on those truck days. And then all of a sudden, you're having two of them on a truck day. And you're also unloading like 40 or 70 pieces of furniture alone in South Carolina heat. Like, it's just crazy as fuck to find out that, you know, who knows how he really died. I left that job and heard from someone else how he died, that they said kidney failure. But the first thing that jumped to mind to me was the two of us having those days where we're unloading a truck and having 64 ounces of energy drink, not drinking water in South Carolina heat.
They
There's
can
nothing
dehydrate.
healthy about it, but it's super anecdotal. Like, my
Yeah,
bad. What were you
no.
saying there, Dave?
Like, how old was he? Like 30, 40?
He was ex-military. I want to say if I was kind of mid-20s then, let's see, like 10 years ago. So I feel like he was probably maybe mid-40s or early 50s, maybe. I don't remember specifically what, um, like when he was in the military, like if it was during any given conflict of ours, but I know he was like US Army retired. Um it's so crazy because you hear about like star athletes in high school whose hearts like explode. And you're like, there's nobody with stronger muscles and a heart than like a little kid who's running high school track. And their heart can fail with some of these things. It's just crazy when you think about it like that. But I still drink energy drinks on a regular basis.
Okay, well, the flavor is described as a heavenly blend of exotic juices certain to attract even the most stubborn spirit. What's
Is that the mango one?
yeah.
Yeah, because that mango definitely sounded good. I feel like it was always the green one that we had, the green monster.
No, that's just the original one, which is just the Red Bull flavored one. But yeah, the Mango Loco is just, I can't even begin to describe it. It is so, so good. And if you get Mango Loco and you mix it with crushed ice and Malibu and vodka, and then you put it in a blender to make it like margarita mix, you get like the best cocktail that will wake you up and fuck you up at the same time.
Well, they said that's been a problem on colleges where, because they drink too much, but then the energy drinks keep them going, even though there's too much alcohol in their system, and then they die.
That's how I learned how to drink beer. Drink some beer, sip an energy or sip a Red Bull. Drink some beer, sip a Red Bull.
Well, if you replace the Red Bull with like water, then that's a way to not get hungover. But I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, that's like
I just,
backwards.
I just mean when I was like 16 or something, when beer tasted like absolute shit. Now I can have like a Bud Light and it tastes like I'm drinking water. So if I also drank water, I would just feel really hydrated.
There you go. It is an acquired taste.
I was kind of thinking though, Josh, when you said the vodka and rum mixer, I had to wonder: have you ever had barrel aged rum, where it actually takes on flavors like a good whiskey does from the barrel?
Yeah, yeah, like black rum and things and stuff like that, but it's like a proper nice black rum.
Yeah, when I was bartending, one of my patrons like came in, and his daughter bartended at the yacht races in the Bahamas,
As
and
you do.
he brought, what was that?
Just saying, as you do.
It's like she works like 2 weeks a year kind of thing. I feel like the way the money probably comes in from shit like that. Um, but he brought in this rum that was like, it was like 180 or $200 a bottle, which is definitely kind of his level of like drinking. It's like a Microsoft guy. And we had drinks of it. I didn't understand what he was pouring and had a drink at work, and I'm like, that's a really fucking good whiskey. Everybody was cracking up laughing at me, but when I like had it, there's no way you could have convinced me that that was a rum without showing me that bottle, because all my brain could taste was all of the flavors of the barrel told me it was a good whiskey. You know what I mean? It was incredible.
Yeah, I think I'm not quite as lucky as that because the times where I have had it where it's like proper barrel aged rum, it's been ones where it's like predominantly spiced, because I think the trend for that sort of type of thing tends to be to ruin it. Well, I say ruin it, but the general consensus is that for an aged rum is to have it to give it a spice element to it as well. So on the two times I remember having it, from like one time was like somebody's homemade stuff effectively that he'd had in the cellar for about 20 years, and the other time was a special bottle somebody brought in. Is that both times they were very, very spiced. They were very almost like festive, almost mulled winey element to it. So I
Yeah.
didn't liken it to whiskey because it was so predominantly sultanery and cinnamony.
Yeah, this was like a pure rum that was just aged. And I wish I knew the actual brand, but I feel like it was like a 12 or a 15 year. So everything about it is effectively like the same as like a single malt. And it definitely is one of those things that kind of reminds you. I've had aged tequila. It was not like as fine, but it kind of reminds you like if you age pretty much any good liquor in that barrel, you can get a very similar flavor. Um, but yeah, it was pretty fantastic and definitely a tangent. But as soon as you said that, I was like, I only drink whiskey. I could go for that rum.
Emulation whiskey is the only substitute.
Emulation whiskey. What? I feel like that's like a tip of my tongue. Like I know what emulation means, but I can't think of it.
Oh, it's when you provide a artificial copy of something. It's most commonly used when it's in software terms, when you use an emulator to run a program
I
on
got you.
non-native hardware.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense how you were using it. It was psyching me out because I was thinking too hard. Um, But are we otherwise ready to jump back in and you guys can continue or start to question Devessa Shane as to this mission to head off to Revel's End and question prisoner 237? This is not a good representation of the room, but I did want to throw you guys into a room here.
So she's on the semicircular whatever thing at the end, right?
Um, They're basically sitting on chairs next to the fireplace, is how I described it. What I was looking for was also trying to find one that actually has like a sofa and cushion and then like a large desk. That's why I say this isn't really a good representation of this room, but it at least gives you all a thought, and I can throw the miniatures down. But she's on like kind of the northeast side next to like Faint and next to the actual like fireplace.
Gotcha. All right.
As far as theater of the mind goes, I still like the idea that there's also like a couple of sofas, one of which is an actual settee, like where you can like half recline kind of thing, like the psychologist chair. And then like instead of the prison cell, let's say like a massive desk. I do like the idea that she's got a private outhouse.
Well, you wouldn't want to shit in your bedroom, would you?
Yeah, going outside here to use the bathroom has to be murder.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a chamber pot kind of world. And if you're a wizard, it is definitely a prestidigitation kind of world.
So just to recap for me, because apologies, yeah. So she is 9. She has been in a meeting with other town speakers all day. We can't confirm how many, but we do know that there was some disagreement almost, and that's because there's been like a league of wizards that have been involved who have been coming to 10 towns, causing trouble, and that's who one of the prisoners is. And it's so is she asking if we can? interrogate the prisoner, or what? What's the plan? Are we transporting him?
So, not a transportation. The prisoner who she wants you to question has been in prison at Revel's End for the last like 4 or so years. They
Okay.
tried to take over 10 towns for the Arcane Brotherhood in the past. You all should be able to connect the dots that when the wizard that you saw killed in East Haven was one of these wizards that it's now known was a member of the Arcane Brotherhood. Those two dots should have kind of connected that she referenced the wizard killed in East Haven, and you all went to East Haven and would have actually seen that bonfire. As far as things go, she is essentially asking you to go to Revel's End and question the prisoner who tried to take over 10 towns in the past. Part of what she said is he was using like commerce to kind of hide it, but was eventually kind of seen for what he was doing, and put in jail as a nefarious agent of the Arcane Brotherhood. Um, it is a dangerous thing for us to imprison someone from the Brotherhood. We could not put him to death for fear that they would search for reprisal, and we could not allow him to go free for the fear that he would come again. But it was seen as a compromise to send him to Revel's End. Many are surprised that he was left there, and that they never brought him out in any attack. Revel's End is strong, but perhaps not strong enough if the Brotherhood truly wanted to free him.
So is Revel's End a town or a prison or what?
It is a great prison built onto the sea of moving ice, inside of a spire of stone. It houses many prisoners of the Lord's Alliance who they would not want to put to death or cannot be allowed to go free. And it is among those things that our towns benefit from trade to keep them here.
So, what exact information do you want us to get from this?
Any information he might have about those who have come now. It must be the first machinations of them freeing him has finally come. If you are able to learn anything about what the Arcane Brotherhood is doing, it would help us. If they are behind the children of Oral, it will help us. It's hard to imagine what a skilled wizard might be hiding, but it seems clear that if the Arcane Brotherhood is returned, Prisoner 237 must have something to do with it.
Well, here's a little bit of an outside the box one for you. I don't suppose you noticed that sort of to the north of here, there was a period of sunny, warm weather?
So, as far as things go, when you guys use the Summer Star, that, like, I think it's like an 8 mile radius, is tiny compared
Yeah,
to the actual map of 10 towns. So I'm gonna pop that up real quick again.
yeah, I'm just firing it up now myself.
I don't think it does anything if you guys open it and I click show to players. So if
No,
you
it's
look at that
carry on.
when you used it, if you were at the Black Cabin, it would have gotten maybe like a third of the way to like the peak of Kelvin's Cairn. Kelvin's Cairn is probably about 24 Yeah, I feel like 24 is probably a safe number to say there. Oh, I left a little bit of the scale on the actual map there too. I don't think you can measure on that one though.
So if we think of like a circle, sorry, that like grazes the edge of where the tree line curves towards the black cabin dot, is that about right?
Yeah, kind of. It would have been one of those things where the people of Lonelywood who had gone off into the woods may have had the only chance to have actually even noticed that. Maybe some people of Termalaine, but they don't really necessarily have a reason to go that far into the woods. And then, because there's almost an agreement between Termalaine and Lonelywood that the woods are Lonelywood. Um, the Termalaine kind of like keeps to their own because they've got their stones and the actual gem mines. Maybe some dwarves would have reason, but it's one of those really weird instances where, yeah, like 8 mile radius is tiny in that map, or this map of like all of 10 towns. Um, what is it? Like Targos to Bryn Shindar is, I think, 12 or 15 miles. So that's about like twice the radius. And I feel like Black Cabin to like Kelvin's Cairn is probably about 24-ish. I think Black Cabin to Lonelywood is probably about like 16 to 20. Um, but yeah, that radius would have been tiny. For what it's worth, Devessa is not going to have any idea about that happening. Um, might be one of those things where Copper and her could eventually talk about it. I think depending on how much information you all shared, she would probably speak with Copper in the future. But that's kind of where uh, I feel like they put that item in as like a teaser of it's like, yeah, people would have almost seen this.
Who's Copper?
Copper Knobberknocker was the assistant of the guy who burned himself up at the Black Cabin. Um, Depending on who I gave you the quest from, it could have been Devessa, but Copper was the assistant who like wrote the note that basically says like, "Hey, we should try a third ring." It's been so long that I would have to go back to the videos to figure out for sure which one you guys got.
Is there anything she could give us? Uh, is there anything she could give us, like, to get this guy to talk? Like, I know he's in jail and he can't get out and everything, but there's there like it's if he's in solitary, can he like go out in the yard or something?
I can give you a letter that will allow you entrance into Revel's End. When they are within their cells where they spend all of their lives there, they are incapable of doing magic. It is dangerous to bring him out of his cell, but if you are to interview him, they will allow you time to speak with him under my recommendation. I can offer a gold reward if you are able to bring back anything of value. But other than that, I can only offer you entrance into Revel's End.
All right, so there's nothing you think we could give him that would get him to talk easier?
He is one of our greatest enemies, and it was his machinations that brought my father to his end.
Well, sorry to hear that. I mean, that must have been tough. Did he, was that some kind of assault, some kind of attack on this town, or was that a skirmish somewhere further away from here?
When it became clear that their agents were losing their secrecy, their backup plan was assassination.
I see. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. That must have been tough, but if it's any, you know, consolation to you, I imagine he must be pretty embarrassed in his failure, and I kind of assume that maybe the rest of his kind have probably abandoned him in shame out of his failure, maybe?
It is no coincidence that the Brotherhood has returned. It must be 237.
Uh, Maybe, but it sounds to me like, well, I don't know. We'll
Do
find
an
out.
insight check for me, Faint.
Okay. To be honest with you, as soon as you said that, I realized I was wrong and I was trying to get canonically dig myself out of it. But okay, here we go.
Ah, that's good enough. This is somebody with a grudge. You are absolutely right that there is a good chance he has nothing to do with this. He's in prison. He's been there for years.
Oh shit. See, that was what I was thinking, but then as soon as you responded to that, I mean, I'm glad the insight check paid off because your response as the character then was what made me feel like I was I was so in the wrong. But hey, it feels good to have actually been on the right page.
That was part of my point, though, in her basically coming out with the fact that it was her father. She has a grudge to bear. That's part of why, like, anything from her is not necessarily going to help you with this guy because he tried to overthrow her. And for what it is worth, yeah, you guys have at that point, it's pretty clear that there is a certain level of this might be something that is worth doing. This might also be a red herring, and this is just somebody who's paying off their own personal grudge. This is still a child sitting in front of you, even if she seems well put together.
Okay, got it. So I'm gonna lean a little bit and go. So this prisoner 237, does he have a name outside of this, or is that all he's ever been known as?
When one is deserving of Revel's end, their life still comes to an end. Prisoner 237 is his name now.
I understand. I don't mean to cause offence. Sorry, I'm not really too wise to the world in some ways of the society and things. So apologies, but I just thought that maybe if we knew his name before he became that, that maybe if when we spoke to him, we could use that to appeal to him and his humanity, and maybe he'd tell us some more stuff. But to be honest with you, that sounds very out of character for me to be that in depth about psychiatric sort of type of analysis. So, so I don't think Fate would have think about it that deep. So I'm just going to shut up.
So, if this person killed your father, is that why you're now town speaker? I'm trying to figure out what a child is doing in this situation, or if she was transformed from a regular age person to a child or something.
I was elected town speaker because the people of Bryn Shindar trust me to play my part. Go and play yours. Do not doubt why I am in the position that I am in.
I have to say, there's no doubt about where you were deserving it at all from our side. I mean, you're clearly very well. You seem like you're a good town speaker, and I have to say, we've met pretty much all of them at this point, and take it from me, and no one we found a good one. And I'll offer her, I'll do the customary faint thing and offer her a small piece of owl meat jerky, owl bear meat.
Guaranteed to
have,
get people on our side.
have some jerky.
Yeah, it's like an old person. Oh, sounds like you're having a tough time. Have have yourselves candy.
You know, it's going to be bad when you're an old man and you're giving little girls candy. I just know it's going to be bad.
More social acceptability than I do it now.
So, without any other particular questions that you might have in mind for Devessa, you all are more than welcome to ask anything else that you might have. On some level, she's getting close to the point where she is basically going to out with the fact that I need to take a nap. If you all require anything else, you can contact Markham or any of our guards here, and we can attempt to supply you or connect you with those who might have what you require. But other than that, do you have an answer for me? Will you go to Revel's End?
I look at the other two and I sort of give like a sort of sideways, what do you reckon type nod.
Yeah, I don't see why not. We can go and talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do whatever they pay us to do. And it's not like we're being told to torture or beat anybody. Just have to go and talk to this guy.
Then I pick up on their facial twitches in response to me, and I turn to her and I go, "Yeah, okay. Tell you what, we'll talk to him and see what we can do for you. We can head off first thing in the morning."
Gotcha. So she is going to take a moment to kind of fill out a little bit of parchment. I think all it is going to be is yeah, it's going to end up being sealed. On the outside of it, it's going to say Warden Marthanas. Um, and I think you'll see the seal of Bryn Shindar is sealing the wax. But other than that, I believe she will kind of send you all on your way. So I would say probably about like 2 or so hours you all are like late in this day. There's probably some time that you would still have the aurora overhead, but as you are basically escorted out of her kind of private study here by the same guard who is outside of that door, and through kind of the maze of doors to get back into the main hall, what do you all have in mind as you like kind of slowly start leaving the town hall?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna get out of this guy, but being we don't seem to have any other leads to go by, I feel like we should still go.
Yeah, completely agree. I think at this point it's probably the only thing we can really do from here, and she seems like she's all right for a town speaker, so I quite like to see if we can help her at all.
So I think I truncated the actual rumor because you guys do still have the rumors that are under your party notes. I feel like I truncated the actual rumor at some point. I feel like because I was maybe going to jump you guys to Revel's End instead of having that conversation.
I have no memory. I'm just looking at the party notes now. Oh, it just says yeah, just literally says go to Revel's End and question prisoner 237.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Where I feel like I truncated it because we were going to like rush there. Um, because I feel like you all picked it up as a rumor from one of your nights, like in a tavern. So the entire rumor that you all like, all of those are rumors that you all have to investigate as well. So there's other things that are potential places. You don't necessarily have no leads. You just don't have like this is a lead with Duvessa. But the actual rumor that I feel like that is coming from is basically overhearing somebody who's saying, I keep telling everyone, everlasting rhyme isn't the Frost Maidens doing. It's actually the Arcane Brotherhood, plotting another takeover of 10 towns. A wizard who was burned at the stake in East Haven admitted to being one of them, and he said there are other Arcane Brotherhood wizards lurking among us. Valish can't be behind it all. No doubt that scoundrel, locked away in Revel's End, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous. Someone should find out what he knows.
Oh, sorry, Valish Gant.
Indeed, Valish Gantz.
And you said as well that the East Haven, was that the wizard that we got the sack of animal summoning thing from?
Yeah, I believe that was one of the things that he carried. That the guard, the captain of the guards there, she gave you all. I think it was a choice, um, a sack or something else. I can't remember what the other thing was, but yes.
Oh, yeah, so Dave, just so you know, mate, Kansas, who's a druid, she's got an item, and 3 times a day she can pull a random animal out of a list of 12 animals that she can control and command, which adds to a druidic thing. And so basically, that based on what that sort of overview was then that we got, then from yourself, Jared, was that um, the wizard that was being burned at the stake when we arrived in East Haven, whom we got that sack off upon his demise. The suggestion is that now is that he was also a member of this Arcane Brotherhood thing.
Okay, I got you. There's a couple connections. So we have at least 2 reasons to go and question this prisoner.
Yeah, and we have a link as to when we talk to him that we can maybe sympathize or something with him about the fact that we saw that, or we can produce the bag and show that and maybe deceive him that it was given to us by him as a gift or something. I don't know, but basically that's the sort of links I'm thinking.
All right, that works. Yeah, we'll have to come up with some kind of plan or deception or something to get this guy to talk.
And I completely agree with that, but knowing us, none of that's going to happen. It'll just be wings when we get there.
Probably.
Oh, I so we get some resting and get ourselves off to this prison in the morning. Go and speak to prisoner 237. We can. Where was it again? I've forgotten the name of it already.
Revel's End.
Is it far to Revel's End from where we are? Sorry.
See you moving.
Yeah, it's on this map here. You guys are probably a 10-day or so away from it.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a trick.
Why would this guy bother talking to us?
Well, that's the trick, I think.
What do you reckon the odds are that we can save ourselves a bunch of journey? Head to Angerjuke's Bell, catch some squid, summon Angerjuke, and get him to take us the rest of the way to Revel's End.
Hey, I think that's a genius move.
Thank you. I've been regularly described as that before.
So overall, y'all will spend a night in Brinjandar and head off in the next morning.
Yep.
Sure, sounds good.
So you can kind of do the general idea of expending, whatever your general cost of living is that you kind of have in mind for your character, and spend the night here in Brinjandar. As far as things go, there is certainly limited availability of a lot of things, but is there anything that anybody needs while you have access to the Black Iron Blades or Akalos? Is there anything that Kelric might be looking for that you don't already have? Which, at least in mind, I gave you extra gold based on like the actual level and kind of where the party has kind of collected up loot. I know some of your spells have components that you will need to purchase. Did you want to acquire a pearl or charcoal? I think those were the two that you could actually afford at this point. Otherwise, you are potentially saving up maybe for the I can't remember what it is, but it's like a 300 GP gem.
Yeah, the gem's a later thing. Yeah, if I could get like the brazier and the incense for the fine familiar and a pearl, one or both, whatever's available.
Yeah, let me just get do a D100 for the pearl, and then do a D100 for the fine familiar.
All right, so the pearls first. That was good, right?
All right, so when you go to meet Akalos the wizard, this is a wizard's tower that is just a little bit south of the actual town hall. It is bam, right kind of there. I just put the little. It's kind of hard to see if you're really far zoomed out, but the little like
I
orange
see it.
circle on it. Akalos's tower is a not really an eyesore, but it sticks out like a sore thumb. This tower is like a inverted pyramid where it's not like actually like squared off. It is a cylinder, but it's like just kind of a normal tower, like at eye level, like at normal human level. About 20 feet up, it gets wider and it goes up further in like a 20-foot wide tower, like cylinder. And then about another 20 foot up from that, it's like a 30-foot wide cylinder that goes up from that. And it goes up like in these 4 different stories, basically, where it's eventually like this 40-foot wide cylinder in its kind of top level with a roof over top of it. That is one way that it sticks out as a sore thumb. One of the other things that makes it stick out is it has no snow touching it. It is the only place in this entire city, if not entire land, that just doesn't seem affected by the actual snow and the blizzards about. But you can kind of head on up and like knock at the door. You will hear a hello, welcome, come in. And as everybody enters into the tower, you're just going to walk into this room that is completely filled with towers of junk, like paperwork that's stacked like 5, 6 feet tall. There's like drawers and desks and like all kinds of signs that this person is an incredible hoarder. But overall, as you kind of walk in, you're just going to enter into this maze of stuff that is stacked well above Kansas's head and well above the elves' heads as well, until eventually, kind of like getting lost in a bit of a maze here, you're going to see as a hunched over little human figure, probably about 4 or so feet tall, like from where his head is from the ground, just kind of like walking down this little spiral staircase, is going to come into view with a staff in hand and kind of looking towards you all. Yes, what can I help you with?
Hello, good sir. I was trying to see if I could get a couple spell components from you.
Excellent dabbler in the magic, sir. What were you searching for?
Well, I needed a couple of things. First, I needed some, charcoal, incense, and herbs with like a small brazier, and then I also needed a pearl from you.
All right, well, I have no shortage of charcoal. And just like a little click of his fingers is just going to be kind of like holding like a just one kind of briquette of charcoal, and just kind of like middle of his palm, and kind of looking up at you, and like with his black hand now, and uh, but I'm fresh out of razors, and I may have to find a pearl.
All right. Well, I'll take what you got. I guess that's no on the brazier.
How
Um,
much charcoal do you require?
not much. I feel like a couple handfuls will probably be fine.
As far as things go, like how much gold are you looking to purchase in charcoal? It's like 10 gold per summon.
Yeah, I was thinking like about 20 gold for it total. Will probably be fine. And then see if he's got the pearl. If we can look around for it.
I can do this for 22 gold. And he'll like create like a second briquette in his hand.
All right, that'll work. I'll take those. Is that all you have from the list of things I needed?
Yes, sadly, if you are willing to pay a premium, I can certainly acquire the items and deliver them to you at your need.
Oh, absolutely. That would be wonderful. What would you be asking for both? For the brazier and the pearl?
I will have to make my way towards Waterdeep. It is quite far away, and I'll arrive back shortly with them, but when you... It's going to take a moment to look to you. Do you sleep?
Not often. I normally just meditate a few hours a day.
Um, I visit sleepers. Um, this may complicate things. He's gonna like look over everybody and kind of like taking a moment. He's gonna like rest in Kansas. Would
I was
you
going to say,
mind taking delivery for your friend?
yeah, sorry, I was going to say, are we there? Because I assumed I wasn't for this, but if it sounds like we are, then yeah, I would have offered Kansas forwards.
I mean, unless you guys specifically don't want to be there, for what it's worth, this is purely the role play in um this guy can visit your dreams and bring you things. But neither of you dream, so I can't bring you shit.
I like
Fucked up,
it. It's
man.
like Santa.
He doesn't want to be in your dreams, or I don't even want to fucking imagine what your dreams are about.
1, would you mind taking delivery in your dreams, Kansas?
Sure.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it will probably be a day or so, and I believe 110 gold should be perfectly sufficient for me to acquire these things and bring them to you. If you sleep next, if it's not on the 10th, I will have them for you by the 12th, for sure.
All right, that works out. You got a deal.
So overall, you can give the full gold there, 132 gold, and that will basically set those up for you. And he will deliver the pearl as well as the brazier at a later date.
All right, that works. It's at least 2 spells down.
And from that point on, there's like an awkward moment of kind of silence after everything seems to be done, and it's just one last. Is there anything else you need?
No, that would be it for me. Thank you.
So the moment you say no, he's just going to snap his finger, and you all are going to be outside the front door of Akalos's tower.
What the fuck?
It's a wizardy thing. Don't worry about it. Showing off.
Magic is fucked up, man.
So, assuming that is just one of the things that you all do on that night, you will basically have that night pass by. You all can pick up on the 9th to do your first leg of travel. If you are heading off to Azazuk's Bell, you should be able to travel pretty easily to Targos. Maybe a little bit longer of a day to get to Bremen, but in the long run, the two of those should be pretty simple travel. Does that sound about good for the next day is to head towards Bremen?
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes
sorry,
sense.
sounds good.
Sure.
Gotcha. So the first kind of setting off point, it is going to be blizzard conditions. You all are pretty familiar with all of this, where you can certainly hunker down and stay safe by not going out into the blizzard. If you take the time to tie each other together with rope, it goes a long way to making sure nobody gets lost in the blizzard, which is largely the greatest danger. Does it sound good to continue forward? And if so, can I get a survival from Kansas and Kelrick?
No, you can't actually get me. I'm having weird stuff going on with this rolling.
Gotcha. Do you see the roll?
No, I've got something going on in that section of my screen where it's got a little circle that keeps like loading, loading, loading. It's so I can't actually click on anything right there. So I'm just gonna do a D20
Sounds good.
and
Let me know your modifier.
yeah, the modifier's 6. I think I survived pretty handily with a 24. Woohoo!
Gotcha. Do you all have any interest in stopping off in Targos, or are you kind of just coming up to the city on the road and then moving beyond into Bremen?
I'd be happy to just spend the night in there and keep going because it's going to take 10 days to get there, and we're already trying to shorten it by going by Angajuk.
Wait. Was that you would stop in Targos?
I think, sorry, if the time worked, I think it would make sense to spend the night there rather than camp on the road. I think it would make sense to use that as a rest point. If either of the two agree.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. There's no point in us staying out in the blizzard place longer than we need to.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Targos is like say 5 to 7 hours of travel time. Bremen is certainly reachable in a day's travel.
Well, let's hit Bremen
Oh,
then.
sorry, yeah, I've just got the map on myself. Okay, yeah, past Targos and use Bremen as a stop point.
Gotcha. Okay, so as far as things go, you all do a good job of keeping to the road itself while you are traveling through the storm here. Um, Keeping up for most of that travel time, you will eventually come to the gates of Targos. You can see that this is I think this is the only other walled city in all of 10 towns. And it is like a kind of semicircle attached to the south side of Mer Dualden. So anybody at this point who is trying to invade Targos really just needs to run off onto the ice and kind of flank around their walls. So it's a very interesting kind of walled in that they have now that things are frozen. With a little bit of light still through the day, Bremen is much closer. You all can push forward through the day. Let me get another round of survivals from Kelric as well as Kansas. So pushing forward in a very similar way, you all have a bit shorter of an actual travel as you are crossing this area. Oh, I still have you guys on Bryn Shindar. I'm on the actual map. Sometimes I forget about that shit. Um, Progressing forward towards Bremen, you all have a shorter path before you get to the Shenanigans River when you actually have to cross the ice. It doesn't take long for Kansas to find a solid crossing point. It certainly behooves you all to kind of like take off as much of your gear as possible. Trust to the actual snowshoes to spread out enough of your weight that you're not going to crack the ice, and kind of tie one another to your bags to another person so you have the weight distributed across as much ice as possible. But moving over the river, you all are able to successfully cross, heading into Bremen. I think this is the second time you all have been here, but you've never necessarily had a great reception. But you do know of what is it? It's like the thieves. The buried treasure is the local inn on kind of the south side of Bremen, where you all can stay for a night's rest with. I feel like with Cora Malfoon. Um, yeah, did you guys actually sleep here when you came with Helka? I don't know if you did. But
I honestly don't remember.
if you all have a long travel, basically, by making that push to Bremen, and you are coming in probably just around the change of the aurora into night, what kind of thoughts do you all have? Are you just looking for a room and going right to bed? Do you have any questions or thoughts when you do meet this little, probably like mid 30s, early 40s woman who runs an inn on the south side of Bremen?
We must have been to Birmingham before actually, because we've definitely met all 10 of the town speakers. Now, well, now in particular, now I met the kid.
Can you tell me about the town speaker of Bremen?
1 second, let me just get my notes up.
I just don't know. I don't know if you guys actually took the time to meet him. I feel like you've met most of them.
Apparently not. My notes for Bremen are completely empty apart from a photo of the map.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like you all stopped in here. I think you went to one of the five taverns to meet with the woman who gave Justin the pouch, the diplomat's pouch. But I feel like it was kind of like a weird. Yeah, I do think you all stayed with Cora at some point that night, because I think you were at the inn when you contacted the person with the pouch, not realizing that it wasn't going to go to Akalos still.
Oh yeah, sorry, we did a bit of the really awkward time. Yeah, when we put the note in the bag and then it ended up with somebody else we thought it was going to. Yes, but I also don't remember who it was we thought it was going to and who it was it actually went to now because of obviously 2 months. So
Well, at one point, Akalos basically hijacked the diplomat's pouch. So there was like a particular piece of paper that if you put it in, it would contact him. And you guys tried to contact him again, and that's when you got man, it's just another NPC. What? There's so many names.
Oh, sorry, and we went and we had the covert chat with them in the tavern, didn't we? Where I used
Yeah.
psychic whispers and we sat in separate tables, yeah. And they turned out to be a good person, as far as I can remember. Somebody who was actually helpful.
Yeah, she was the person who put Ezekiel onto the murderer who was killing people for skipping out on the 10-town sacrifices.
He was working as a guard for like Torterra or something, was it? Or Torera?
I don't know what you're saying there.
The name of the person whose traveling caravan that was like a salesperson. Is it? Her name began with
Oh,
a
okay, I
T.
got you. Torga, yeah.
Torga, that was it, yeah.
But overall, in the long run, you guys can stop off here in Bremen. You can stay in at the buried treasure. As far as like if it's just a quick stop off point, that is perfectly fine. But you all would more or less get in with a late day here into Bremen.
I'm okay with it just being a night stop. I don't know about you two, but I think probably best we just keep moving.
Yeah, quick stop sounds good.
Yeah, go as far as we can for the day. But if we can stay indoors, that'd be nice instead of camping in the blizzard. Though, of course, being a druid, I can withstand anything.
And
Uh, the,
also
the,
with
pu-
Blizzard or with Wizards of the Coast being so wonderful about making sure snowflakes never melt. Your cold weather gear keeps you perfectly safe from everything weather related in this campaign. When you all are good to go here, we can start off with another round of survivals from the two survivalists. Let's go for one more from you. So that's probably about the first 2 days there. Roll a D100 for me, Karek. So on, what is that then? The 11th, at some point while Kansas is sleeping, Kansas is going to be visited by Akelos. You are going to just be vividly dreaming, and at some point you see this creepy old man kind of like walking up towards you, and whatever your dream is currently happening, he certainly won't fit in because I hope Kansas doesn't dream about Akelos. But on some level, he's just going to walk towards you. Hello, little one. Everything is here. And he's just going to kind of like look around at your surroundings and kind of like wink to you for a moment. And then he'll reach out with a little pearl to set into your hands. And then a small kind of like 3-stand, like brass, probably about like 3 foot long, like brass rods, three of those, with a kind of small bowl that's maybe about like a foot diameter, made out of brass. And he'll kind of like reach out for that as well to hand off to you. And looking to Kansas with a little bow, he'll say, "Pleasant dreams." And then all of a sudden he's going to disappear. What does Kansas think about that happening?
Do I wake up?
I don't know. Do you wake up? Seeing a creepy old man in your dreams wake Kansas up?
I guess so.
So when you wake up, you are going to have a pearl and this like brazier kind of like tucked into your arm, the pearl in one hand and the brazier almost like hugged up to you, as if it was like a little gnome.
All right. So are the other two asleep, or are both of them awake?
Both of them meditate at any given point where you're sleeping. They're going to be semi-conscious. You could certainly wake up Kelric and deliver his items for him.
Okay, I will do that. I'll go and tap him on the shoulder and say, um, that was kind of weird, but Akalos came to me in my sleep, and then I woke up and I've got this stuff and it's for you.
Oh, thank you. That seems convenient. I need to learn that spell.
She says, "Hee haw! That man came on into my dream and interrupted my interracial midget female threesome dream for to give me these albums for you." That's my American accent. I hope you enjoyed it.
What?
Well done.
She was
What,
streaming
sweet
that onto
pea?
OnlyFans. So, a couple of days down, you all are probably about halfway across the expanse of the tundra on the way towards Anjou's Bell. Waking up the next day, let's do another round of survivals from the two of you. This third day out of Bremen will go just as seamlessly as the others, and let me get one more survival from you.
At some point, I'd like to take an hour to make it familiar.
You are more than certainly welcome to. There's plenty of time in these days.
What kind of familiar?
I was thinking of Snow Owl.
Nobody who's ever made a blade singer would summon an owl.
Wait a minute, a snow owl. Are you in a frosty terrain?
It's free advantage, and they don't get attacked while they swoop by.
Unless you want me to make something else, I won't argue.
No, man, you go for it. 100%. Don't worry about stuff like that. You go for it.
Bam! I'm about to drop it into the allies, and you can place a token for it at your leisure.
Getting rid of one of the components. One sec. The charcoal I can't reuse.
I'm going to take a short break. Be right back.
Yeah, so I think that last set of survivals is going to get you all to Angajux. And this is going to be towards the end of the day. You're aware enough that you don't necessarily have any reason not to fish and get Angajuk here. But what would you like to do when you arrive back at the hut of Anga and the bell to call Angajuk?
Well, I explained the process about getting some fish offerings to him so that he's happy and he takes us with him. And also, I explained about last time we were here. There was some, was it rocks or giant eagles or something on top of the big stone thing. So I suggest that we just check it out, make sure.
Carrion.
Carrying, yeah. So rock would be quite considerably bigger. So yeah, so I suggest that we go and just check it out and make sure it's clear that they haven't come back to roost, even though we killed them. They haven't been replaced or something.
That's very entirely boring, but you can certainly check. Roll a d20.
Right back in like 2 seconds.
Okay, I'm back.
Yep, you can look and you can climb your way to the top of the ice structure, and there is nothing up there.
Well, seems clear. Well, we can sleep in the cave when we're done, or we can sleep in the hut thing. But either way, let's get some fish for Angajuk.
Sorry, Beck.
You want to go for a nighttime summoning of the whale, or would you all like to wait for the next day?
How does the whale summon work?
Well, I was going to say, I suppose it
Basically,
doesn't matter. Sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, it doesn't matter too much because could we sleep when we're in Angajuk's bubble?
yeah.
Then I say a nighttime summoning is probably fine to try.
Besides, you can't tell day from night out here anyway.
Yeah, I think at this point you guys are nearing the full moon, so as the moon is waning towards full, it's actually one of those things where the white light of this part of the moon cycle is actually brighter than the days with the aurora. But yeah, if you all are interested in fishing here, you can do survival checks. For what it's worth, let's assume you guys bought fishing gear, because I probably should have reminded you that Helka gave that to you last time. But yeah, roll some survivals from those of you who are going to attempt to fish.
I was going to say, from what I remember last time as well, I stab a piton into the ice, tie a rope to it, and then put the other arm around my waist to go, not getting pulled under again. So I'm pretty sure I had like 5 or 6 attempts at fishing, didn't catch a single thing, and on 2 occasions got pulled under the water.
That's horrifying.
I really can't stress enough how unlucky I am at the end of the year in general with rolling.
So first hour of fishing is going to net no results. Nobody gets much of anything that nibbles or seems effective. Go for another hour. Keep fishing.
Sure.
All right.
Let's roll
Yeah,
another
we
round
go.
of survivals.
I mean, the whale's pretty big. You would think it would catch its own fish.
It does indeed, but you guys are offering it tribute. Let me get a round of strength athletics checks. And then Kansas and Calric, let me get dexterity saving throws. Faint, you can pull a squid out of the water.
I did it. I did it fucking finally after so many attempts. I've done it. I'm a master baiter.
Kansas is getting pulled into the water.
I will try to get out.
Let go of your fishing gear, and you can climb back out.
I was gonna say, do I still have the rope around my waist and on the thing, and my squid is secure? Because if so, I could jump in after and grab her.
I could throw the rope. I don't have anything else to get her out.
I mean, she got pulled in by fishing tackle, so she could let go of the tackle and
All right.
get out.
So I'll let go of the fishing gear, and then I will try to pull myself up onto the ice. It's cold here.
So at this point, you now need to dry out all of your clothing, as you are soaked and will now need to actually deal with the cold. You spoke about you have the ability to create fire. Do you have bonfire? Create bonfire would be a really great start to warming yourself up. You could certainly do it out on the ice, or
No.
you could go into the shelter of the old cabin of Anga and basically start to dry out your gear and yourself.
Yeah, the cabin. I want to make sure there's nothing that's going to burn or melt under the bonfire. Like, I'm unclear on what.
Overall, it has an actual fire pit to it, so you could certainly light something that is not going to cause the entire thing to burn down.
Okay, I'll do that.
Um, I feel like you all grabbed up two before you summoned Anga on the first time that you all met her. Do you want to try to fish more with the two of you, or are you all satisfied with a single squid and ready to summon Angajuk?
I think one more is a good idea, so I think we should go another round whilst Kansas is drying herself out.
Yeah, I can help out.
Gotcha. So the two of you go for a survival here.
Damn it.
Kansas, roll a d4 for me. All right, so Kansas is going to be a few hours drying out all of their equipment. Would the other two of you like to continue fishing as you basically sit out for this other hour? And it's rather uneventful.
Okay, want to stick her one more time?
Yeah, like if you want to keep fishing, like you guys have nothing from that hour. So if you're going to keep fishing, do one more survival.
All right. That's a little better.
Excellent. Let me get an athletics from Kelrick there. And then a dexterity saving throw from Kelrick. Are you still there, Josh?
Sorry, yeah. What was it?
Can you roll a survival?
Of course, sorry.
So you're basically catching one there, Kelrick. As you like fight with it, it is going to start pulling you in, and you basically have to give way in order to keep yourself out of the water. And Faint, just no bites on this one. With that, Kansas is getting close to having dry equipment, but you all can fish for another hour as she finishes up that drying process. Or if you are ready with one, you can certainly still summon Engaju.
Oh, so I lost the fish there. I wasn't following.
Yeah. If you don't win that athletics, it's going to pull you in and the fish is gone.
I understand the mechanics now.
And then one from Faint, but an athletics from Kelrick there. You will get a bite there.
So was it athletics for me, or was it? Sorry.
Survival is the first one. You need the mechanics of this is you need a 15 on the survival You're competing with an athletics against the fish on the second one. If it wins, you have to do a dexterity save to not get pulled in. Athletics from feint there, both of you are getting solid bites. I feel like, yeah, Kelrick will be able to pull his from the ice, and feint. You can do a dexterity throw at advantage. You can maintain enough of a response to not be pulled into the ice there. But you all have two. I think I said squid the first time, so let's say squid again. So you've got two squids here for Angajuk.
Well, I was enough last time, so should be okay again, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds good.
We check on Kansas, make sure she's nice and warm, and then we can go about summer and sleep on his back.
Yeah, as you go to look in for Kansas, she is certainly basically at this point noticing that yes, her equipment is dried out and she should be safe to return back into the cold.
All right, should we ring the bell, see if we can get him, and then spend the night on his back?
So when you are ready to ring the bell, let me have everyone roll a d6. Excellent. So there's going to be plenty of time to return to the actual shelter, or you guys there's an actual cave that goes through that like spire. I guess I could have given a side view of it as well for you. But as you all basically have some time here waiting for Angajuk, you can go into the cave and enjoy a bit of the bonfire. I just pinged it into Discord. Or you can head back into the actual structure of Anga's actual shack and wait for Angajuk to arrive. But it's going to be a little bit into the day. I feel like it doesn't actually say, so let me go for 4 hours. So y'all will be pretty much through, like halfway through this night, before you actually hear the arrival of the whale kind of cracking through the ice. It almost sounds like the thunder of some of the giants that you all have encountered in this area. Um, Pretty similar to the last time that you encountered Angajuk. At most, it's just going to startle two of you from your meditation more than anything. But you all can meet back up with Angajuk, and yeah, I think the few moments of offering the whale the sacrifice, it's going to kind of like peek its head out of the water and looking around to you all. Hello. In see you. I've enjoyed the ice and return to see the fish and beauty of my sea.
Angajuk, my friend, it's so good to see you again. The last journey you took us on was so beautiful. We'd love to go on a trip with you again, and we've got you some gifts. And I gesture to Dave to chuck your squid into his mouth.
Oh yeah, I checked my squid in. Give it to him.
I'll wave.
You're just gonna try to throw it at Enga. Like this is like a giant sperm whale with kind of like the front of its head sticking out. You would actually see like the prow of a ship actually sticking out of the ice as well. Um, but you can most certainly do that. Let me have you make a. Let's do a sleight of hand. Yeah, so as you get it flying through the air, Anga's going to notice the squid and with what it can try to react and try to catch it out of the air. And you're just going to see as this like really thin mouth kind of opens up, just filled with a bunch of teeth. And will kind of catch this squid. And as it tries to prevent itself from being sucked down like a little bit of sushi, Angajuk's going to consume the squid. And that is a delicious treat. Thank you.
Well, since you're such a good friend, we've actually got another one for you, haven't we, Kansas?
Yeah.
Anga's going to kind of like um, flop out of the water with a little bit more of its body and kind of look towards Kansas and open up its mouth. I feel like Fate has it, right? You're the one who caught it.
Oh, was it? Sorry, I thought it was Kansas. Okay, then if it's
No,
me, then
Kansas
yeah.
got pulled
It's
in.
I
fun.
fell in the water.
Oh, sorry, I just assumed I failed at fishing again. You're right, I managed to do it. I completely forgot about my own rare success. So yeah, I'll get a little bit closer and then I'll chuck it in.
I went swimming.
So with a little bit of surprise as the squid hits, it's gonna like start to wriggle out of the mouth of the whale, getting like a few of its tentacles free and trying to like make its way back towards the water before with a big kind of like popping like a zit, Angashuk's going to close her mouth down on the squid and you'll hear like a little bit of like struggle before she kind of sucks down the rest of the squid and will look back around. Surprises. Where would you like to see? Or just go to my heart's content?
Well, we'd love to see some more of the beauty of the ocean, and I was hoping you could take us up to the northeast, please. We're looking to go to a place called, I don't know why I keep forgetting what it's
Revel's
called.
End.
Rebel then, please.
Revel's End, if you know where that is. It's northeast of here,
It's a prison?
along the edge of
Yes.
the where the ice meets the water.
Your people sail ships to only one place. Now, I know this place. And as she kind of like moves a little bit out, like one fin will kind of get up and out of the ice a little bit, exposing a little bit more of the ship on her back. And she'll kind of like basically position it so you all have like this whale's back is covered in a small ship, but part of how it is tied to her is like around her body in like a harness using like deck rigging, and I feel like it's like nets, but I feel like rigging is also like the crisscross that makes it so people can climb it, but more or less she's kind of presenting herself where everybody can climb aboard.
All right, I go aboard.
Sure, I climb up, and as I go, and I say, "Thank you, Angajuk, my friend."
We really appreciate this. Now we don't have to trudge all the way around on the ice. Thank you.
And we get to see the beauty of the sea again.
So yeah, you all can hop aboard Anga, and she will start swimming and taking you all towards Revel's End. Let me get a round of d8s from you all. Dropped another picture into Discord again of as she descends below the water, like almost sliding back in the aft side of the ship is actually going to be the first part where a bubble starts to form that prevents the waters from like seeping into the ship before as she kind of goes more and more into the water the bubble just kind of continues all the way up to the air of the hole in the ice, and then as she kind of flops the rest of the way down, the prow of the ship is the only part that doesn't have any like bubble kind of over it. It almost like pierces through the water before, but everybody on deck is protected by this magical bubble. Um, as she swims, there's different points that you can tell that she also breathes through this bubble of oxygen because as you go further and further, every once in a while there's big like whistles as she inhales. And with the exhales, you are going to get a very ripe flavor of oh damn, I've got the word in my notes.
Putrid.
But their belly is filled with something that we humans collect. We actually make some of our finest perfumes from it, but it is straight up out of a whale's gut. Um, this gold. Oh man. But as she is ambergris, there we go. As she is exhaling, you are going to smell like the actual like um kind of insides of this whale is being shared with the oxygen that you all are I don't know why I always describe their gut and the fact that she's breathing because that would be through her lungs. But I'm going for it because breath stinks. I'm going for that. Yep. So she kind of like will slowly do this. Every hour or two, she will return to the surface. In the long run, you all will have a pretty simple travel along this first day. If I can get another round of d8s from you all here. So everybody will wake up at your own given times and kind of like have more consciousness while you all are traveling. Is anyone going about anything special? You just enjoying yourselves? Are you conversing with Angajuk at all? What sort of thoughts do you all have while you are traveling here?
I think I'll just for one of the continuity's sake, I'll use this as a opportunity to study my stolen magical tome a little bit, which gives me the lessons, which give me my psychic abilities. So she just has a bit of time for that whilst I'm able to enjoy the ocean floating by outside the bubble.
Gotcha. So you'll definitely have like some struggles for light here, as there's definitely less light at much of the depth that she will swim at. But you are more than welcome to use something like a torch or candles if you have those. In the long run, that bit of fire is not going to do much. Um, I wonder how much you could read by the light of just summoning your daggers. But I feel like that's one of those things where like using that level of light might be a little bit more dangerous than practical, but you can most certainly accomplish those that little bit of personal study time on the back of Angajuk. Um, you think Faint has a good constitution? I love reading, and I hate reading in cars because I get car sick. Let me get a constitution throw from you.
15.
Yeah. So most of the time, Fate is good. There's definitely a few times where you have to like look up from your studies, and you're like, oh, maybe look off into the distance for a while.
I'm one of
Anybody
them
else?
freaks that never gets car sick. Sorry, I can play like my Nintendo Switch, the most like action-packed game ever, and all kinds of weird angles, and I never feel a thing in the back of a twisty, windy country road. I'm just a freak. I just don't get it.
Oh, extremely lucky.
Too prickly to be
I'm
dead inside.
that's
Okay,
good.
I won't be
That's
motion
some
sick,
kind
but
of
I'm
trick.
dead.
What was Kelrick thinking?
I'm just getting a window seat. I'm just looking at everything outside. I'm enjoying the view.
Gotcha. Let me get a perception check from you. There's more than a few occasions where you can certainly see like large creatures that would potentially be hostile were you not traveling on a larger creature. There's definitely times where you see schools of dolphins that are actually swimming with Angajuk, as well as more regularly couple of Norwal. But in the long run, you get a pretty nice view of some amazing ocean travels or places to travel, as well as certainly noticing that there is pretty regular chances to see what you can only assume are shipwrecks, but you're never quite close enough to confirm. But at very least, you're seeing stuff on the ocean floor that your brain is telling you must be a shipwreck. Like you're drawing the conclusion from the lines. What is Kansas thinking?
We should travel like this all the time.
I reckon you should have a good conversation with Angajuk. Just think about all the great things you could chat about as a druid with a sentient being.
Yeah, I don't know what the protocol is if you're like, on top of a horse, chatting with the horse essentially, except that this is much, much bigger than a horse.
Just shooting the breeze, I imagine. I mean, it's completely up to you, though. Don't let me influence you.
Anger and I never had a protocol. Anger loved the fishes,
So
the dolphins.
do you always have this ship on your back? Seems inconvenient.
Anger gave it to me so I could show her the sea. Anger made me smart so we could talk together.
What happened to Anga?
I don't know. Maybe she's busy. She used to come more often.
So it's been a while since you've seen her.
I don't know if a whale has a concept of time. It has been many moons.
Yeah, I guess like under the water is about the same all the time, and then there aren't really regular seasons up here anyway.
Well, whales still have to breathe though, so Angajuk does have to come up for air regularly. Um, so on some level, like I think it's like every hour or so is like kind of the longest they can go. So she has a pretty regular concept. I feel like that would give her a sense of moon phases still. Um, and it would all start from when Enga actually basically gave her intelligence.
Ignore that.
This poor whale, I'm just picturing it like wandering around underwater with a ship on its back. Seems, well, like if you're wearing a backpack all the time.
I don't even think it's been many, many moons since anger made me smart. A boat is my gift for her gift. What if it makes me smart? I would never give that up.
All right.
So, after what would seem like a day or so of travel, you all can um, hmm, wonder how many boats have sunk at Revel's End. I think when Angajuk does arrive with you all, I think I have this revealed on the western side. Yeah. This is a massive map. So, about halfway down on the west side, on the left side, you should see the actual coast. I'm probably going to hide the rest of the ground of this map, as it's kind of set up as if you approach from land. But you all will basically arrive in the ocean. Anga is going to kind of come up to where the actual rock face descends probably a few hundred feet into the actual water below. I'm sure there is plenty of wreckage. Whether there's any boats or not might be a little bit moot of a point, but I feel like it would make sense if the humans or if humanoids lost at least one boat at any given time in the sea of moving ice. It is not a stable place to sail, and part of the only reason that they do sail ships here is because of this prison. But as far as things go, there would definitely be times where like supplies have been dropped from what when you all surface will see is a sort of crane that has like a pulley system raising I think it's 300 feet above the actual level of the seawater. So you're on, like, Angashu can swim up to the dock over there, and there's basically a hole in the dock. It's about like a 20 by 20-foot square that is missing out of the dock next to the actual stone of the cliff face. And um, yeah, there's got to be some communication. I feel like maybe they leave a guard down there. Never actually thought about, like, if you guys took Angajuk here. I guess they probably have to keep a guard down here when they're not expecting a ship. Otherwise, maybe, yeah, I don't necessarily have a good solution for that, but I say a guard will be down there, be a little bit surprised as this whale lands. And then as they kind of like come to and seeing all of you kind of popping off from the ship, be a little bit surprised and, uh, hello, there's no one's allowed in the prison. What, what are you?
All right, yeah, we are the what would you call ourselves again? The Blizzard Buddies. This is our friend Angajuk. She's very friendly. You don't need to worry. She's just our helpful guide who's taken us through this beautiful sea to come and visit the prison here. We've actually been sent here by the town speaker of Bryn Shindar, Duvessa. She's actually requested we come here to speak to prisoner 237.
If the speaker sent you, you can come in. We will have to take your weapons, and you'll have to see. I lost her name already. Wrong page of notes. I'm on the buried treasure for some reason.
The warden,
Yeah,
Mathana.
Marthanis. You'll have to see Marthanis, and she will be able to decide what will happen with you.
Fine by me. We've actually got a letter or a note to pass her with a Vessa seal on it, so that's okay with me.
I can't imagine that there are that many people who show up at this prison for visits.
The soldier will reach out the hand and take the letter from you, though.
Okay, but I'd like that back to give to Mathandris, if that's okay. Or
I can
Mathanis.
deliver it to the warden for you.
Sure, I mean, that's fine.
So this soldier will kind of like take you all back towards, say, the little guardhouse there. A little kind of like flick of some switches, and you're going to start to hear the crane overhead as it starts to very slowly lower the elevator. Over the next like minute or so, it is going to come down these few hundred feet before the guard will hop on with you. And as everybody gets situated to kind of a pretty similar thing where I wonder how they do an elevator. It's gotta be magic of a wizard. And
Like
kind of,
pulleys and dumbbells and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
but to put switches on it, what is it, like a little mechanical? Like that would be like tiny little wheels, like mechanical wheels that slowly get big enough for something that can do like thousands of pounds. Like, you know how many like that's kind of what's going through my mind though. How many like step ups in a tiny little wheel would have to happen before you could get to the massive flywheel that would do something that's like this elevator is meant for unloading ships that basically bring in the supplies. That's from what I can tell is why this is here. So that's meant for like thousands of pounds of shit. It's just wild to imagine that like mechanical prowess But I definitely feel like, we know like medieval castles in Europe were built like this. But yeah, you'll slowly like be wheeled up to the top of this structure before you all will come up to the top. So this is a big side view of Revel's End. Again, you're kind of coming in from where that ship is, and you're going up that massive elevator. But that like gigantic promontory of rock that is on the it's really the west side or the east side of the prison, or the northern side of the prison rather. That gigantic rock, half the prison is like underneath that. The tower is kind of cut out of that rock, as you can kind of see half of it is still rock. But this is a really, really crazy place because it is this like eight-pointed star, but part of it is on the other side of the rock, part of it is underneath that rock, and part of it is on this side of the rock. Um, Pretty much behind where the actual like wheel of the elevator is on there, there's another entrance to this place along the north side, and effectively what they are going to be inviting you into is you will enter through those doors and you will see kind of a short little hallway that extends. um yeah, see, I have it eastward. So you're going to enter through this hallway and you're going to see to the east of you a long hallway with a few doors on either side. And probably about like 100 feet down this hall, you will see where there's an actual like door well ahead of you that kind of has maybe a little bit more of a view of like that wall and a little bit of the view of a hallway, and then you all would 100% see these kind of entranceways of that first area. As you're basically brought into this area, they will take you into a little guard chamber where four guards, not in cold weather gear, are kind of sitting around dining and more or less lounging. And then the other side of that hallway, the north side, is more or less empty, but you can see signs that it is set up as a hospital to treat anybody who might need so. But the two of those are effectively opened to the hall here, and you all will be brought into that guard chamber where they will disarm you. And then the guard who brought you here is going to go for Marthanas.
I'm fine with that. Take my weapons if you want. Just offloading all of my daggers from underneath my big cloaky poncho thing.
Anyone trying to hide any weapons, or are you all just giving them up?
No, this seems
I,
sensible. And besides, he's got those psychic blade things, so he doesn't need physical weapons.
You're gonna bring that up to them?
Hell
no.
no.
Are you sure? Because you just said it.
No, no, no. That was just like
I just imagine Kansas like elbowing Fate, like, yeah, give up your weapons because you can summon those psychic daggers.
Yeah, give them up, Faye, because it doesn't matter to you.
no, no. My charisma is like a 7. My intelligence is not a 7.
Well, lordy, you gonna give up all your weapons there, I say. That's my impression of Kansas.
So I think this will actually be a pretty solid spot for us to pick up from, and this is part of why I was really hoping to have Jessica with us, because I don't know how to invite Jessica into a prison as a casual person who's about to join you all. But that's where I feel like we will kind of figure out next week, and perhaps kind of retcon the idea that, just like with Calric, that Ninya, I'm really curious how she wants me to say her name, because it's going to be Nye if I can make it one syllable. Um, but we will see where she joins us, and we will kind of continue with this little bit of the questioning and kind of move on from there, I think.
Could just say like she was also sent by Ovessa, but a couple of days beforehand, since she didn't travel by Angajuk or something, so she was arrived at like an hour before us, maybe. And we just be like, oh yeah, oh, on the same quest, and then just completely jump off from there with like no no mingle time.
Yeah, it's definitely the awkward part of starting with a prison.
Yeah, you can't exactly have her as a prisoner, can you?
Awkward and prison never go in the same sentence.
I mean, you speak for yourself.
Thought about just throwing a random encounter at you all because we were not rolling for any to happen, and that surprises the shit out of me over and over again. Um, but it is one of those things where I feel like as you all kind of approach higher, like entering into tier 2, actual travel becomes a lot less dangerous than in tier 1, where travel is the biggest danger for adventurers. But overall, I feel like you all did a pretty solid job of kind of figuring out things. That moment where I have people wait for Devessa is one of the funniest things to me, where it's just a question of like, how impatient are you? Because I already rolled to see how long it's gonna take. I'm
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty
they're
funny.
about to murder all of these guards.
Yeah, I
No,
was
so yeah, I
thinking, like, I
mean,
wasn't sure we were supposed to do that or not after a while.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, okay, maybe we're supposed to break out. I don't know.
I feel like it's one of those reminders that doesn't necessarily stick with people of our time frame, is that people in power are assholes. Um like when you think about like trying to meet with a queen, like you wait. The queen will arrive when the queen arrives. And you just
yeah,
sit there and wait.
that's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I was like inclined to keep giving them chances to extend the wait and things. Be like, oh, and I'll speak to such and such as to kill time and things. But I genuinely thought, for me in my head, like mechanically, metagaming and stuff, I thought of it as it was just almost like a mini game type thing to see how much time you can pass and what activities you do during the wait. But I didn't know how long the wait was going to be, whether it was going to be like an overnight stay and things and stuff, and you're all sleeping curled up on chairs in the hallway, or whether you go and find a bed to sleep in, or you can negotiate with the guards, let you stay at the tavern around the corner or something. I didn't know. I thought it was like a challenge, like a to see how much time you could pass more than it was like a fight the guards type thing. But we are traditionally quite murder hobo-ish, so that was always a big gamble for us, I think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an interesting aspect to see how people are going to treat it when they are not the center of attention. And I feel like that's one of those things that's it's one of those aspects where a lot of people think D&D is like about seducing the queen, and it's like, look, if you're next to the king, he'll kill you in a second. Like there's no question thought this or that. Like there's people where yeah, they will certainly honor you for being the heroes. And then there's other people who you're just more vassals. But yeah, that moment is definitely one of those things. It's to see where a party's like chaos factor is. Because yeah, like I've had people who are like, "Yep, I'm gonna pull out my spell book and sit here and copy spells for however long it takes," and then we're like, "Yep," and we're done.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm gonna head off because I'm fucking knackered. But I've had a lot of
Sounds.
fun. It was great.
I
Go
feel
on.
like Kelrick hit it on the dot at the start and got more and more impatient though, because I'm pretty sure you said at the start of it, you're like, I think they're just going to make us wait, like as a matter of course.